This is
Boy, do we got a show tonight. I'm telling you, what an outstanding show we are going to have tonight. Guys, take your seats. Stop. Don't. I know everybody wants to light a match and stomp their feet. Listen, it's going to be fantastic. This is one of those weeks I was kind of talking to crap before the show started earlier today, and I said, it's one of those interesting news weeks. It's not like there's a lot of, let's say, crap's old favorite word, megatons out there. But at the same time, there's a lot of talking points going on in the community, and I thought I would assemble probably some of the greatest minds that we've got on Twitter that are talking on other podcasts and just get a collective thought and go through it one by one. So before I do that, let me just say thank you to everybody that's here. Guys, please do hit the retweet. I say retweet, subscribe button, like button, tweet it out there. Get the information known that CrossFire is live. It means the world to me. We are almost at 10,000 subscribers, guys. We are 250 away. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, mooch a sub for me, for goodness sake. All right, listen. We've got an outstanding show. I've got Mooch Maniacs here. I got the family is here. Let me do a quick roll call for everybody real quick. And guys, if you do want to join the channel, please, right above the description is the join button. You become a Mooch Maniac family member. You get announced every week. It means the world to me. It means the world to you. Here we go. Our Mooch Maniacs, Sir X-Man, Midway Monster, JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, Ben Link, TrueWiddy, The Wise Old Gamer, Failed Pyromancer, Frostbite Slash, Jacob Evans, Tactical Gamer, Marlesco, Ice Queen Gaming, Wraith The Emperor, Eddie T, Anthony Boyd, Zombilla Ice Cream, Custodes X, our major Mooch Maniacs, Mex J88, Windingo, 4-star General, Sean Slomka, Brian B, a.k.a. Delirium Blades, Audible Fart 507, our VIP Mooch Maniacs, Remarkable Night, Van W, a.k.a. The Butcher Van, Rich Kreiser, Rated D Demonic, Percolator 9000, and our honorable mentions. We miss you. We hope you're coming back. Doggy Dog 420, Lucifer, Masshole 1977, Wilmy Hood, the great Wilmy Hood, is always an honorable mention for all the great things he's done to the show and for the podcast itself, and our forever Mooch Maniac, Longshot 316. That being said, guys, let's get to our panel. We've got quite a panel tonight, guys, and a lot to talk about. That being said, let me start with the one, the only. He already warmed up before the show. He's Mr. Unscripted, Crap Gamer. Crap, how the hell you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for the invite. Well, I'm always here, so I guess not really an invite, but yeah.
It's not an invite anymore. It's like
yeah,
your house.
It should be a good show. Good panel. It's a really good panel of people, so I'm excited to hear all the different opinions and stuff like that. So, it's an exciting time. A lot of stuff going on. Hopefully, I think next week is going to be a pretty big week as well. I think Sony's going to show some stuff and tip their hand a little bit. So, yeah, man, excited stuff. Good to hear about the opinions and things like that. Let's get down to it.
Appreciate that crap. And shout out to... Go ahead,
Mooch,
Code.
The next time I'm on, I'm going to need you to introduce me before crap, man. I need top billing now.
He said age and profession before YouTube. I like that, Code. I like it. I'm right there with you, my friend. Shout out to Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, who never misses a show when Code's here. Let's go PC Master Race, he says. Shout out to BG, who's in the chat, too. And our newest Mooch Maniac, Hustle and Motivate. Great to have you here, buddy. Thank you, Hustle, for that support. The great Marty Bison says, Crossfire, you didn't mention me, Mooch. The hate is real. I can't wait to listen later. Appreciate it, the great Marty Bison. Marty, if I didn't see you, I apologize. You're great, and you know it. Guys, great to have an amazing group in the chat here. But listen, right from Redmond, his jet just landed a half an hour ago. His paperwork's in order, folks. The Xbot 448, Xbox's finest defense loader. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Battletoads!
I see.
What is going on, everybody? What is up, panel? It is good to see fresh faces in the panel as well. What is going on, chat? Good to see everybody here. It is Crossfire time,
yes,
or as I like to call it, the Kumbaya Light a Candle podcast. Let's go.
You must have made a wrong turn at Albuquerque, buddy. That's not the right. But that's okay, buddy. You're more than welcome to be here for that. Xbox, great to have you here tonight. And then I've got my special guest here. And in no particular order, just going down as I see them in line, I've got a buddy of ours here. You guys know him as Nova. Nova helps us out on the M&C show as our producer. Nova's first time on Crossfire, does the Insomniacs podcast. Nova, welcome to Crossfire for the first time, buddy. How you doing tonight?
What's going on, Mooch? This is an honor to be on this panel tonight. It's a dream. Shout out to the great panel we got tonight. I'm so excited to get into it. Yeah, let's go. Check out M&C show, by the way, on Sundays at 11:30 and Insomniacs podcast on every Thursday at 7 p.m.
Can't argue with that plug. Can't argue with that one bit.
Yeah, no, but speaking of that, so I was watching Mooch and Crap in the mornings the other day, and I seen this little bitty tagline with Nova, man. Make your name bigger on all the artwork, man.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That,
I second that code.
Yeah, man.
Take some of the heat off us. That's fine. Go ahead. Not a problem. I don't think Crap minds either, to be honest with you. Guys, listen.
I think he's
right?
the one that made the thing.
He made it.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you need to be featured more prominently in all of the branding, Nova.
It could be Nova featuring Mooch and Crap. Don't worry. We're fine with that.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
That's great. Nova will be our deflector. That's fine. Great. Listen, speaking of reason, guys, we couldn't have a show like tonight with so many opinions on these topics without having the man himself. It took me a month and a half to book him. Guys, you don't understand. We had to fly over there and bribe him with a PS5. But finally, Eric is back on there. EJ's back. Eric, great to have you back on the show, buddy. How are you tonight?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm happy to be back. Dude, yeah, talk about like some scheduling problems, man. It was like...
It was difficult.
I had to keep hitting you up like, hey, oh, man, I'm sorry, man. I thought I could be on. I have to cancel for tonight. You know...
Hey, real talk,
listen,
EJ. How's the family, man? Is everybody doing all right now? Everybody recovering all right?
Yeah, I mean, we're good because we play it safe.
That's right.
Okay.
We don't mess around with the big C, you know what I'm saying? But
all right, bro.
But yeah, you know,
With the big C.
Yeah, my wife and I, you know, we're back at the schools. She's had students. I'm gonna be getting students back next week.
Nice.
It's our governor don't give a damn. He's like, open all the shit. Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't understand it because the numbers keep going up. But hey, it is. Just got to keep navigating, man. Wear your mask.
That's right.
All right, bro.
Follow the protocol. I completely agree with that.
But we're good, Cole. Thanks for asking, man. We're good. But no, happy to be on with you guys tonight.
Good to have you here too, E. And then I got my buddy here from New York. He's also doing work during these times of unbelievable need. Shout out to Dean Knox, who's back on the podcast. Dean, how you doing tonight?
Oh man, great to be here, bro. I'm chilling, my brother. You know, it's been rough out here. We've been doing what we're gonna do. The big C. I don't know if you're talking about cancer or COVID right there, but yeah, man. You know, we're dealing with this stuff, and you know, I don't want to even get into that shit. Let's go. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. Knox, keeping it gaming. That's my boy, Knox. Thank you for being here, buddy. And then I got to hear. Listen, this is an honor to introduce this. What happened?
Man.
What?
Hold it. Knox, you told me you was gonna hook me up with your SoundCloud page, man. You told me you had bars, and I ain't heard nothing yet. What's up?
Oh shit! You know what?
Wow, Code took notes.
Yo, on the reels, I even forgot about that, but nah, I'm gonna hook that up.
All right, that's what's up, man. Don't forget me.
Yeah, nah, I certainly won't. The kid is nice.
All right, that's what you keep saying. I need to verify.
So you guys got to be careful when you have Optimus Code on your show. He is taking notes. I'm not kidding you.
You don't want me to drop 16 right there. Let's keep it gaming because my shit is a little gully. You know?
Here we go, man. Let me say this much, man. It is an honor to have him on. It's his first time on Crossfire. I got news for you guys. Maybe I've just got, the boys fever there from Amazon Prime. I can't get enough of this guy. I love his takes. He's doing videos on his phone. He's also on the Saltiest Gaming podcast. His first time on Crossfire. Let's welcome Wooly the Butcher Gamer. Wooly, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Not worthy, my bro. Flipping awesome. I am so hyped to be on this show. To be talking to you, Mooch, expert, Code. I've spoken to you in the past on the Salties show. I'm so grateful. And Crap, been a big fan of yours, mate, for a long time. Super stoked to be talking to you.
Because I'm the man.
That's right.
You know what it is, Crap? I got to be honest, mate. I couldn't have cared less about your short videos in the past, but it's when you gave long rants, you just spoke to me with your reason, man. And that's
Appreciate
kind of well, me and you see eye to eye on a lot of things, on a lot of reasoning points, and you just clicked with me. It's your long hour and a half long rants on YouTube that really stood out to me.
Love the solo casts.
Yeah.
Dang, was he your
100%.
girlfriend or something? What's really going on?
Hey, listen, it's just a fan code. It's just a fan.
Yeah. I got a few of them. I got
a few of them.
Yeah.
I'm humbled and to be here. So thank you for inviting me, Mooch. Super grateful, brother. And yeah, let's get the show going.
Well, we can't even get started until I introduce this
We're
last
like
guest.
16 minutes in and still doing intros.
No, don't forget, crap, we waited 5 minutes for you to get out of the green room.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so we're only at 11 minutes past, but that's okay. It's all right. It's all part of the show. It's not a problem. You know, I run 15 minutes late like a soccer game anyway. It's the way it is. That being said, I've got my buddy here. He is here. Listen, and he's been chiming in through the entire introduction. So if you think you haven't gotten your fill of code yet, the man himself, Optimus Code, back on Crossfire Code. It is awesome to have you here, buddy. How are you tonight?
Man, I'm good. I appreciate it. I am the Coder Supreme from the top of the hill. I never worked and I never will. My daddy was a player, my grandpa too, so I don't know nothing else to do. What's up? What's going on?
Good to have you here, Code.
Code is spitting.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Well, listen, Code, let me tell you something. Go ahead and take a refreshing drink of your beverage because I'm coming to you first on this one because I think a lot of people want to kind of talk about this. And as you guys can see, I have up there on topic one is Marvel Spider-Man gets ray tracing and remastering done right. However, I put thoughts question mark because there's a lot of stuff going on the internet that maybe some people are opposed to. We're going to get into everything on that. But let me just read this quick little post here from IGN. It says, in a new PlayStation blog post, Insomniac revealed that the next-gen PS5 remaster for Spider-Man will look better than ever thanks to technology like ray tracing. The environments will be more detailed, and Spider-Man will even have ray trace reflections and ambient shadows. Insomniac says character models will also get a boost with higher fidelity skin, eye, and teeth shaders. But one really big change coming to Spider-Man PS5 Remaster is that Insomniac recast the facial capture for Peter Parker. Okay, no big deal there. Other features confirmed for Spider-Man Remastered are a new performance mode. Here's where Code, you gotta take these notes. A remastered or a new performance mode that targets 60 frames per second on PS5, near instant loading with the option to turn on the funny fast travel animations if desired. 3D audio, haptic feedback on DualSense controllers, and the new photo mode in Miles Morales will also be available in Spider-Man Remastered. The reason I wanted to read that to everybody is just so we can put everything into context so we know what's coming in the package of the Ultimate Edition. Code, there's been a lot of people saying that this is the type of work that should just be a free upgrade when we're talking about the PS4 to PS5 remaster of the original Spider-Man. I'm not talking about Miles Morales. I'm talking about just the remaster. Coming from your background, and all the work that you've done in your life and your experience. And I'm genuinely interested to hear your opinion because you may sway me one way or the other. Do gamers or do consumers have the right to say that this should be free? Or when you see the amount of work, and you've seen Insomniac be very vocal on the internet, do you think that the $20 or whatever they're asking for, $70, that's $50 for the Miles Morales, $20 extra to get the whole package, is that a warranted cost?
Ooh, Mooch. You just jumped right in, didn't you? So it's both, man, right? So I have noticed, especially on Twitter, that people get these three things confused, like right away. They get enhancement, remaster, and remake, and they just look at all of those as upgrade, and they say any upgrade should be free, although they kind of look at a remake now as, okay, well, I should have to pay for a remake. But like a Xbox One X enhancement is not the same thing as a remaster. And so you are 100% correct that the amount of effort and work that went into the remaster, again, it's not a enhanced version. It is a complete remaster. Of course, that takes a lot of work. And of course, they should be compensated for it. However, I do think it's shady that you can't just buy that enhancement if you want. Like, they're not treating it like a regular remaster. Like, I could buy the Shadow of the Colossus remaster all I wanted to. It's just there, I can go buy it. But they're tying it behind another game that you may not actually want. So they're forcing you to pay. If you want it, you have to pay $70. But the idea is, well, you get this and this when people may only be interested in that remaster. So I do think it's worth the effort, but I don't like the way that they're trying to bundle it instead of just making it available as a standalone package.
Okay.
To jump in on that point,
Go
if
ahead.
possible.
Go ahead,
I think they're going to completely uncouple that thing, and a few months later, down the road.
You think they're going to separate the two?
I think they're trying to beef up and spice up the Miles package.
Yes.
And by putting that in there, and they're gonna grab those people who, are gonna jump on a PS5, who may be on the fence about a PS5. And then I think once that slows down, I think in a year or whatever, they're gonna probably separate it, because there's no reason why you can't separate it. So I'm with Code. You should give people that option. Say, look, you can buy it, because people are gonna do it either way. You can buy it in the Miles package, you can buy it separate if you already owned it, or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to the upgrade, I've been actually thinking about this, because I was kind of hard on the whole 505 thing. And the thing is, I don't think they still have not really detailed everything that they did to upgrade their game, right? And then they also went through the path of kind of being a little bit shady and a little bit cagey too, of saying, well, we looked at all these avenues and we couldn't do it. And then I'm looking at the Spidey thing, and before they kind of came out in detail what they were doing, I was kind of at them too, like, yo, yeah, why can't we get this, right? So I've been thinking about it a little bit more, and I started thinking, like, because I know the comparison is out there where we're getting Gears 5 up, enhancement free and this and that, and like Code just broke it down. There's a difference between enhancement, remaster, and remake, right?
Right.
And it is different. 100% is different. But I look at it like this too. I always see people say, well, I don't want Sony to be exactly like Microsoft, and I don't want Microsoft to be exactly like Sony when it comes to the game part, right? Yeah. When you go to this whole what's being free and what's given out free, again, we have Microsoft who's kind of firing on all cylinders, giving out things and doing the things they need to do. But why? Because they have to.
Yeah.
Exactly. They don't have new games.
They right now are the husband that screwed up, and he's trying everything to get back into the house. So,
man, that's a great way to look at it.
It really is.
I'm cooking. And then once he gets back into the house, let's give it a few years. If they're hitting on all cylinders, he's back in the house. Yeah, babe, I'll get to it when I get to it. That's how companies go. Right? So they're doing everything they do. So their face right now is we're 100% customer service. We're doing everything because they got to get you back. Now, if the market dictates and Sony starts to see, well, yeah, people are not really jumping at this because they're looking at this thing over here, they may revisit that, because why? Money talks. And if it's not moving, you got to figure it out.
Yo, I actually, when it comes down to it, I believe you're like half right on that whole Xbox thing, but with Xbox mantra and how they want like their libraries to keep going forward and stuff like that, I really feel that even though I agree with you that they're trying to be as pro-consumer as they can be, and they're trying to grab mind share that way, I believe that when it comes to these enhancements, and as opposed to like a remaster or a remake, I think they're doing it on purpose, as like keeping that whole library moving forward. I think that is a focal point for Xbox, and that whole kind of like pro-consumer thing. Of course they're doing that, but I don't think that's the whole reason why they're sending out enhancements and stuff.
I agree with Xbot right there. That's absolutely correct, Bot. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. I do believe that it is just part of what Microsoft wants to do. Yes, they are being pro-consumer, so you right on that front. Absolutely. And it benefits them to do so, and they need to, because they're playing the catch-up game. But in the grand scheme of things, this is the direction Microsoft wants to go. This is being done intentionally by them. Absolutely.
Oh, 100%. And that's the thing I'm going to say. But what was their BC thing kind of born out of? It was born out of a thing because they had to do some things to make it more enticing, because at that time they weren't hitting on dropping games. Now, I'm not saying sometimes you get to where you need to go by necessity. And then you start to see, well, people are responding to this. We need to keep moving with this. We need to keep moving with this. I'm not knocking that at all. I think that's their lane. That's the lane that they're trying to travel. I'm just talking about people pitting these two companies against each other when they're on two different wavelengths right now. But like I said, again, the market will dictate, if Sony starts to see that this consumer friendly thing and people are really responding to, and people are calling them out more, that's how you get there.
Listen, Microsoft is setting a precedence right now, because the way they're doing it and the way they're finagling it, it even catches me off guard, because it's like this. They're gonna do exclusive content. Let's say, right, the acquisition of Zen, right? So they got that. Now with those games, they're already established third-party games, just like Minecraft was. So you know what? It makes it okay to leave the multi-platform. It's super beneficial. If you invest $7.5 billion with a B, you're gonna recoup that guap, baby. You have to. You must do so. So keeping it multi-plat, it's a no-brainer to me. You have to do that. And then On another front, you can utilize that quadruple A studio you got and make exclusive shit and get them on both fronts. Make exclusive stuff because they need to tighten that game up. Exclusivity, they need to do that. Are you going to take Doom Eternal and make it exclusive? You could. I would. But am I going to make Elder Scrolls exclusive? Hell fucking no. Absolutely not. I'm going to
hold on, Knox. So while I agree with you, I have no idea how we got here from Spider-Man.
I was going to say this.
I want to chime in about Spider-Man.
Yeah, let me...
I'm sorry about the Spider-Man. My bad.
That's all right, Knox.
No, the Microsoft thing.
Well, Knox, listen, Knox.
Some things on his mind.
Knox, if you look down, somewhere on my list of topics is the one you just kind of went into. So we're going to get into that. So hold that thought. Wooly, you wanted to comment on the Spider-Man topic. Go ahead.
Dude. So for those who ain't seen, I've uploaded like 3 or 4. It's ridiculous how many videos I've uploaded about Spider-Man and the controversy surrounding the remake and Miles Morales and the remake being locked behind Miles Morales. But I think we just need to establish some hard facts here, right? To get things into proper perspective. And I'll try and do this as quickly as possible, right? So first of all, is it anti-consumer for Miles Morales to be required in order to purchase Spider-Man Remastered? No. Why? Because we still have a fantastic quality game experience on both parts. They're both quality and they're both good value. 20 quid for the remaster upgrade is good value for a remaster. It's not by definition anti-consumer. You've also got to bear in mind that that's good business because you don't want a Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1 on your hands. If Spider-Man Remaster was to come out at the same time and sold separately as Spider-Man Miles Morales, do you really think people would be tempted to pick up Miles Morales for 50 quid when here's a next-gen looking game that looks just as good, that's also Spider-Man, made by the same devs, available for 20? It would make no sense. They'd be competing with themselves with a far cheaper product, and Miles Morales won't get the sales, and Sony needs sales.
I mean, when it comes down to it, from what people are telling me with Miles Morales, now, I do agree that these games are made the same at their foundation, but it's a different story. It's a different character. It goes a different way. So
very true. But you'd wait for Miles Morales to go get cheaper. There's a lot of people who would be buying PS5.
I mean, you as a consumer, you have the choice of doing that, or if you want to jump in as soon as you can, get in there day one, you can do that as well.
That's true, bro. That's true. But alternatives give only more options to not purchase Miles Morales, and Sony need to profit from that game.
I think if I had to play kind of like reading people's minds out there, I think people are scratching their head on why such a recent game is getting a remaster. A remake in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is really why it's like, oh well, they're remaking that already. Well, what exactly are they remaking? And from what I've seen in terms of the remake, Peter's character model, because everything else could have been put into the original game running on the PS5 when it comes to ray tracing and all that stuff. They could have put that work in there for the
That's a very fair point.
For the dedicated people who bought that game on the PS4 and give them a treat going into the next gen. But instead, it seems like they put that remake tag on it, and even though it's $20 and even and it is coupled in with another game, it's like they're trying to squeeze more money out of that. When I mean, it sold like 16 million copies. On the PS4,
I mean, it's funny because you got to kind of walk on eggshells with a conversation like this. I think Xbot made a great point. I really like to go back with what Eric was saying. I like what he said early on. We're kind of saying, well, Microsoft's doing this. Microsoft's trying to get back into your good graces. Sony right now.
Not only that, Mooch.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Not only that, but you also have to think that why are Gears 5 and Forza Horizon 4 being hyped up so much as being upgraded? Because they're kind of the only cross-gen upgrades you're getting, and they're not even cross-gen. They're the only cross-gen exclusive games that you're getting that aren't even cross-gen. Whereas Spider-Man Miles Morales and Horizon Forbidden West, they are getting free cross-gen upgrades too, but they're new games. And that's the difference. Where Gears 5 and Forza Horizon 4 getting great free upgrades, it's great. They're doing it because you've got nothing else. They have to be polished up because they're Xbox Series X's flagship releases.
Xbox, man, and you're bringing like Forza Horizon 4 into this, and you're bringing Gears into this. Like, I was just staying focused on Spider-Man and thinking why people had such a negative reaction.
But the thing is, though, Xbot, the negative reaction is spawned off of Microsoft's latest actions, so that's why he has to bring that up. I mean,
hold on, Mooch. I don't think that's not true.
Compared to
it is. I'm not saying Optimus. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying that's where the narrative comes from. Go ahead, though, Code.
Well, I mean, because when I see this conversation, I see the Twitterverse giving many examples of free upgrades not from Microsoft. CD Projekt Red is mentioned a lot. I just lost my train of thought. But there are many developers that are not first-party Microsoft devs that give you the free upgrade to the next gen version, whatever you want.
We're talking about exclusives though, and we're talking about the Xbox Series X launch and why Gears 5 and Forza Horizon 4 are being upgraded.
How is it being exclusive or not mean that it shouldn't be free upgrade like everybody else?
No, it's not. That's not the important point. It's the important point is being Gears 5 and Forza Horizon 4 being hyped for the reasons that they're being remastered as being praised and held against Sony, saying why aren't we getting Spider-Man Remaster for free? You've got to remember that Forza Horizon 4 and Gears 5 are being upgraded for free, which is great, yes, but so is Miles Morales and Horizon Forbidden West.
Well, I think you're not really arguing the point that I don't think it should be free. I said it shouldn't be coupled with Miles Morales. I think that they should be paid. I think it's worth a paid upgrade. I just think that I should be able to buy it by itself.
Do you think Miles Morales would sell as well if it was sold separately?
Of course I do. I mean, maybe y'all habits are a little different than ours, but me, when I buy a new console at launch, I'm trying to buy and play as many games on it as I can, not one or two. And I want more games at launch, not less. And I will certainly, I want to see as many new experiences as possible.
That's an interesting talking point, Code, on separating the two. I think Wooly gave a good answer. Let me just take care of a couple of super chats here, guys, and then I do want to kind of get back into it. Just real quick here. Sir X-Man says here, it's so great. He says, Mooch, sell Stadia while you can. The end is near. I sold my stock. It's okay. Thank you, Sir X-Man. Wow, I don't care. Says, can't wait for ray tracing on Soda Drinker Pro. Gaming Forte, the great Gaming Forte. We miss you, Forte. He's working. He says, every time Brap says PCMR, he owes me $1. You're going to be rich. Brap comes back and says, Code is so old he dropped bars with Jesus, PCMR. Oh, God, that's something. You and Code and Brap. Wow. They are literally a dynamic duo. Audible Fart says, Xbox first-party games, can't make them, buy them. Brap comes back, says, Xbox is folding laundry. Eric, I think that was when he made the getting back into your good graces comment. Link to Light says, happy Friday, homies. Appreciate that. Link to Light, thank you for the outstanding birthday gift, too, by the way. It's very nice of you. Cool Hand Cruz, he says, shout out to my brother Nova, representing the Insomniac crew on YouTube podcast, which is on every Thursday, and the homie WoolleyGamer. I'm still Lord, and that was a very ally style entrance Optimus Code. So he's a big Code fan. And shout out to my New York, the Action Luca. What's up, Luca? She says, get that pony, Wooly. Xbot. So that's great.
My name had the exclamation points, all right? You don't go Xbot. You go Xbot!
My fault. Yeah, I should scream more. Shout out real quick in the chat. We've got Big Cloud Gaming. Shout out to Saltiest Gaming. Shout out to Erica, Luca. Just doing a quick roll call here. I saw a few people that were here earlier too. Marlesco. Guys, great to have you here. But let me get back to our topics here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean,
go ahead, Nova.
I know we're all hardcore gamers in here, and we're all part of this community on Twitter. But for any person who hasn't played the original Spider-Man or Miles Morales, this is actually a great deal. You're getting 2 games for the price of a next-gen game. Now, while I do agree with Code, it should be separated because, people who've already played the first one, maybe they don't want to go back. They should have that option to just upgrade, at a later date or, whenever they want. So, yeah, I mean, I think overall it's still a great deal. If you're getting into the PlayStation ecosystem for the first time, you're getting 2 games for the price of 1 on launch day. So
that's Ultimate Edition ever.
And you can still buy Miles separate on PS5, right?
Yeah, for $50. So it's even cheaper than what Madden would be Madden 21 would be on PS5. So
Right.
Yep.
I'm not too mad about it.
And I'm kind of glad Woolley hit on that too, because I think it is kind of getting muddy. Like people are talking about like the whole smart update and the whole 9 or whatever. And yeah, it's true. You are still, if you buy the PS4 copy of Miles, you are getting that copy upgraded on PS5. So
when it comes down to it, these are two different companies right now. And when I look at these things, I can go and I can be like, well, Xbox and their smart delivery and stuff like that. Well, but here's the deal. They're doing two different things. Like if you like the smart delivery, you like getting the free enhancements and stuff, and you see that there is a company going in that direction, ready to do all that for you for the games that are already existing, for the cross-gen titles that are coming out. You go with that company. You don't.
Hold on, Xbox. That's what he's saying. That's what Woolley is saying, and he's right on that part. We're not talking about a cross-gen title with Spider-Man. That's the entire point. It is a current gen title that they did a remaster for. Miles Morales is the cross-gen title, and you do get a free upgrade for Miles Morales.
Code, can I ask a question? Didn't we all do the exact same thing this generation with the likes of The Last of Us Remastered and Halo Master Chief Collection?
Oh, absolutely. Like I did.
We paid for those, right?
Yeah, those were remasters, and again, like I paid for that Shadow of the Colossus.
The difference is that those came later. Those came after the. I mean, like this is bundled in with a quote unquote new title. You know what I mean?
Agree.
And that's what makes it. That's what makes it suspect with the whole bundling it in. I do have to agree with Code and the guys here on that. Like it should be separate. Like,
but bear in mind, my dude, that it's you can also buy the remaster at a later date. Once you've bought Miles Morales, you can upgrade. There's an upgrade path.
Well, that's the thing. What if I just want Spider-Man? What if I'm a racist and I don't want to play as whatever? I just want to play Peter Parker.
Back to my point, Optimus. If you just want Spider-Man remastered, if you just want Spider-Man, play the 2018 version. But you can't have Spider-Man remastered for 20 quid. Because only because Sony wouldn't profit. Sony would not profit as a business. The launch of Miles Morales is important, and it's me as a consumer.
They would. It's easier to sell it at $20 for an enhancement to the current title separately than bundling it in and obligating it. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's kind of foolish that they didn't do that. Like.
They're not mutually exclusive. They can sell a $19.99 PlayStation Greatest Hits remaster and the Ultimate Edition Miles Morales and the regular Miles Morales, just like they do now. Mm-hmm. And you can just choose which one you want to buy.
Mm-hmm. But again, the same thing can be said with the Halo Master Chief Collection. They could have sold those individually, but no, we had to buy the whole thing. And granted, it was for a great dollar amount. So I'm not arguing, but you could have said $15 a piece. We owned all of those already.
You still can buy. You can buy the MCC, or you can buy each game individually.
Not originally.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm just saying because somebody on the panel, everyone's had such great points. I haven't been taking notes, but somebody said eventually or down the road they believe that they will be, and then it would give credit to E that it would be sold separately, which I completely agree with that, by the way. But when it comes down to it, and like I say, it's very, very difficult to always walk on these very, very treaded waters where we say, oh, we want to pay more. Because listen, I'm a consumer here. I don't make a percentage on any of this. But a lot of times when you see the article that I read, and I know, shout out to everybody that's here. Please do hit the like button. Please, guys, hit the subscribe button while you're here. When I just went through all the other features that they said that they're going to be giving there with the 60 frames and your instant loading times, and they're going to be putting things into the DualSense, and they have new caricatures, new models being done, and, I'll kind of bring that up there. I'll put that up there as our second
Mooch,
topic.
Hold on. The load times and everything like that. Wasn't the original Spider-Man PS4 the leaked footage that showed the power of the SSD?
They showed that what he's talking about was when Sony showed at one of their briefings. I don't know if it got leaked or they wanted it to be showed. I don't remember. But they showed the original PS4 with the PS4 assets moving through and basically the speed that the PS5 would produce. Right.
At that point with game.
But I'm cutting. Listen, Xbot, I'm cutting it short though. The developers came out and they gave a very detailed look at what they did to enhance the game. And I'm only speaking. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because Optimus Code is on the show tonight. Like I've never done any kind of developing, and I don't pretend to be a developer. I didn't stay at Holiday Inn Express last night either. My point being is that I I just these guys go to work every day. They work very hard, and if everybody on this panel had worked on that, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't mind charging for it.
No, I got to agree that when it comes down to it, games that from this generation they were not developed with an SSD in mind and optimizing with the SSD in mind. Like you're going to get quicker load times no matter what it's optimized or not, and you're using a solid state. But when it's optimized, that's when you get peak performance. That's when you get the load times. Exactly. I agree with all that, man. But I just thought it was funny that they used the Spider-Man PS4.
Yes.
Hey, Mooch, real quick. I want to clear something up with Woolley real quick. Because Woolley, I want you to make sure you understand what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing that whatever Sony moves are making for business or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm talking about is the public's reaction to whatever those business moves are. And I think the public has a right to express their displeasure and what their expectations are. And for the most part, ain't nobody going to care about profits like we will in this panel, right? Because we want stuff to continue. So I'm not saying Sony's right or wrong. I'm saying the public.
No, I respect that 100%, Optimus, 100%, bro. And to be honest, bro, we do also have to bear in mind that regardless of our perspective, we should always try to remember that we need businesses need to benefit, and we want good products, and that's how business works. That's good business.
Absolutely. Let me just say this much. Let me say thank you and shout out to Jay Barry in the Super Chat. He says Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS5 will give you an in-game option on buying. I don't know what he means by the SS Remastered. So you can buy the remastered digitally later. Okay, so Jay, I did not know that. So he's saying that they are going to be giving you that option in the game. So the Spider-Man game remastered you'll have as an option. I don't know if I'm reading that right. Jay, if I'm reading that wrong, I apologize.
But you're still buying Miles Morales to get that option.
That's right. That's right.
So you're still buying the Ultimate Edition anyway.
You don't have to. You can buy the standard edition for $50, and it's there via in-game menu. Hey, do you want to get the remastered? It's $20. So technically, you can do it later.
Technically, still paying for the Ultimate Edition eventually.
Well, yeah, you are paying $70 in the long run.
Yeah,
essentially. So, but yeah, there is a paywall. I agree with you, Bot.
So another thing, shout out to Fluffy Monkey in the chat here. He says, Mooch, will 343 coupled Halo 2's remaster by including all the other games in the series that we already paid for last gen? That's an interesting point, too. I mean, I know that they kind of tweaked and touched the originals as well, but Halo 2 was the one that was fully remastered. They threw the others in there. Why not just charge us? That's my point. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with The Last of Us Remastered. I don't have a problem with the Halo Master Chief Collection. That's why when I saw this, I'll be honest with you, I'm only telling you the truth. When I first read it, I didn't think, hey, why isn't this free? I thought, okay, if I want that, I'll buy it. If I don't, I won't. Same way I thought about Last of Us Remastered, same way I thought about Halo Master Chief Collection. I already had all the Halos. Why do I need another one? Well, they're remastering it, so they're charging me, so I paid for it. I don't know. Yep. I don't necessarily see an issue with this. I know that everybody wants everyone to just take a pro-consumer stance, and I get that. But yeah, right. I mean, Knox. Like I said, when somebody comes, right? Somebody does something in your house, right? They do a paint job in your house, and all of a sudden you go, you know what? I was wondering if you could just repaint it. I don't like the color I told you to do it. You tell the painter you want him to, right? You picked blue, now you want gray. He's not going to just paint it gray for you because you didn't like the change in color. I think there's always something to be paid for service. Now, let me just do this a quick super chat. Shout out to the Ashen Luca. I guess she says, the God box not charging for enhancements. Luca is stirring things up. I love it. Shout out to Luca. And then the great Sin Vendetta in the chat. He says, I don't care what Sony does as long as we get a Bloodborne remastered in 4K 60 and second platinum trophy for Mooch, Luca, Erica, and myself can get it. Sin, you're a god amongst ants. Sin, great to have you here, buddy. I appreciate that, and I completely agree with that.
Just real quick.
Go ahead, Xbot.
Just real quick. Again, like with what you're saying and bringing up, the Master Chief Collection and stuff.
Yes.
The only thing I can see where people would have an issue, again, if I was a mind reader, is the fact of how recent Spider-Man PS4 is.
Hold on, Xbot. First, you're not a mind reader, and it seems like you are deliberately trying to find some shade to throw at this, man.
No, that's the only difference. I said that would be the only thing where I would be like, you know what? I can see where you're coming from with this. Other than that,
But look at it.
But
Look at the difference. Look at the difference. It is.
No, he's siding with us,
different.
Wooly. I jumped in too soon. He's on our side with this.
Oh, very true.
Well, let me say this. So before we completely switch subjects to another topic that I can't wait to get to. You guys know I can't wait to get to my third subject. But guys, I just want to talk about this real quick. So the new Peter Parker character, from just a story standpoint, I don't see a problem with this, and I believe today, I don't know if it was Insomniac or who did the research, but it was a credible source. They saw that the new character model that the character was sketched off of is actually a 26-year-old actor. So, and in the story, Peter plays a 23 or 24-year-old in his life pursuit right there, right? So what I'm saying is that it may look younger, but like it is what it is. Is this really a problem, or is this just now we're nitpicking again?
I think it was just jarring, is what it was.
I agree.
Not too many times does a remake come out and then they use a different actor as the main character's model. So when you first see that, a lot of people who played Spider-Man on PS4, you get attached to your character. Let's be real. Like, if you got into that game, you got immersed. There was a point in time.
Nobody's paying attention to Peter.
I was just gonna say, maybe I was going. I was.
And like 50 different outfits, bro.
Yo, not my Peter, man. Not my Peter.
I was too. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but I was too busy swinging to the right, swinging to the left. Okay, the Peter Parker part got in my way. So I don't know, myself personally, I didn't care. I do it, but Xbot, I will give you this credit. What you're talking about holds a lot of weight, especially in the movie industry.
Look at the movie. Yeah, look
right?
at the movie.
In the movie industry, yes, but not in video games.
Why not? Why not?
I don't know.
When it comes down to it, it's an interactive media, right?
It is when it matters.
People get attached to characters in video games the same way that they do in movies. All right. So when it first came out, it was definitely jarring to a lot of people. You saw the responses on Twitter as well.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not talking about people that are
how
just.
many Batmans do we have?
Huh?
How many Batmans do we have?
That's a great point.
We get a new one like every year.
Right?
Oh, which one's your favorite one though?
Say what?
Which one's your favorite one?
Ooh,
So, Bot, I think his point is valid. Batman is the icon, not Bruce Wayne, and same with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the attachment, not Peter Parker.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
There was a huge outcry when Val Kilmer was Batman at one point.
Well, that was
because he sucked ass.
Right?
I think the real one was George Clooney.
I need to agree with what EJ said. Like, you're wearing a mask 90% of the time. I mean, yeah, maybe a couple cutscenes, you'll be like, oh, damn, that's a different Peter. But
yeah,
in reality, no one really gives a shit. I think this is just the Twitter echo chamber kind of at its fullest. Like, most people.
Well, you know what, though? Xbot.
Jarring is, right?
Xbot, shout out to...
It is jarring. It is jarring.
It is, but...
That's all I say.
No, and Xbot, you're not on the firing squad here. You made a great point, but Adrian made a good point in the chat. He says, how many Spider-Man movies are there? Same thing as with Bruce Wayne that E just said. Same thing with Spider-Man. We've had a ton of different Peter Parkers.
Which one is your favorite, and which one is your favorite Peter
I
Parker?
am on Xbox's side. I am with Xbox, though, totally, with the fact that it was jarring at first. I didn't like the look of the new Peter, and I did feel uncomfortable with it. Like, I was just like, oh, come on, guys, really? So, you know, I do. Yeah. I felt so violated. I felt so violated.
And then you didn't care.
But
right.
And then you didn't care after
exactly.
Right.
Afterwards.
Listen, I think a lot of you guys will agree with me. Like, the Tobey Maguire that was just where my eyes have always fixed. It's set on that being Peter Parker. When I first saw Tom Holland, I was like, same thing was reversed though. Instead of Tool, I'm like, who's this? Who's this kid? Like, I don't know if he's gonna be able to like pull off the. But you know what? Now Tom Holland's is my favorite Spider-Man, right? And I mean, maybe I'm wrong in that, and you guys can disagree with me. That's fine.
Grew on me within the day. Like, I like the look of the new Pete now. It just took a time to readjust.
Yeah, exactly, Wooly. I think it takes time to set in. I think that's the case. No, great points on that, guys.
But you know what? I want to actually say, because Xbox is actually right. It is jarring because when they first put it up, you're like, whoa, what happened? But after a while, like, you know, like Wooly just said, I'm like, okay, it's fine, it's whatever. We just, you know, we're moving forward. But I don't think it's by accident that I know people are saying that he kind of looks like an older Tom Holland. I was like, I don't think that's by accident.
It's not worth the outrage, though.
Yeah. If
Well,
That's what I thought they were going for. That's what I
thought too, Knox.
That's what I thought they were doing.
They showed the actor that they picked, so it was not in reference to Tom Holland.
That's a Columbia Pictures property. Why wouldn't you do that? I would.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Well, they probably didn't want to pay Tom Holland for his whatever he was asking for his royalties.
There's something with Disney involved in that.
Eventually, they'll get him in there.
I was just going to ask that question, but do you guys think that Disney had any hand in this at all, or do you think this was just a creative decision?
No, it would benefit Sony more than Disney anyway, because that's a Disney. Disney owns the Marvel IP, but Columbia owns the properties for films and games and all that shit. So,
well, let me say this one thing: this Spider-Man is this version. Is the PS4 version or the Sony PlayStation version of Spider-Man the one that's supposed to be in the Avengers game?
No, I don't think he's from the MCU. No. I think he's from the Sony Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Sony.
So that Avengers game is the MCU.
Yeah, the Avengers.
I didn't think it was.
No, it's not.
Yeah, the Avengers game is the MCU. Yes, it is.
We're talking about Spider-Man in the Avengers game or the Avengers game?
No, the Avengers game is Marvel. It's not MCU. It's not MCU. MCU is Marvel Cinematic Universe with the films and the movies.
Right.
Yeah, the
Avengers. I thought it was Marvel Comic Universe. I thought it was the Marvel Comics universe. I didn't. Not cinematic.
Cinematic. So it's not the people from the movies. I think eventually they're probably going to charge for people, and you will probably be able to look like Robert Downey Jr. eventually in that Avengers game. That being said, guys, I do want to kind of switch subjects real quick. Say shout out to Luca again. She says, "Tell Sin I'll play Bloodborne again." I'm adding to her super chat, but she's not doing the challenge dungeons. By the way, I don't know if you guys are fans of Bloodborne. I am a super fan of it, but I got to be honest with you, those challenge dungeons, they can take a walk. And that was just like the idea that they hit a trophy,
talk, bro.
Right? They hit a trophy in there. That's just bullshit, to be honest with you.
You know why I feel? Because I did my run with Sam Tober. Shout out to Sam. We did it together, and I was like, "Yo, these dungeons are bullshit." And I felt like it was something to kind of force the multiplayer portion of it.
Yes.
Because I'm like, yo, this is whack. Like, why did they do that? And I hope.
Well, I made a deal. See, but you were lucky. You did it with friends. That was the way that the challenge dungeon should be. Is with friends. I made a deal with Sin that I would do it solo. So doing that solo was like, honestly, I guess the game is a blast. But like Luca said, the challenge dungeon solo. That's like, it's just a tedious. It's like a homework assignment. You know.
Mooch, you're a made man, bro.
Shit, man, I gotta be real with you. That was crazy. I'm glad I did it though. Now Code's got me. Listen, Code. Now because of you, I'm going to have to get that God of War plat. Damn it, Code.
You got to get it, man.
I know.
It's mandatory.
I'm running out of time, too. Listen, guys, this next with Code, I hope you're ready. I hope you got a large water next to you because you're going to need it. This is something that always gets me, and it's funny. I always have Code on when it comes up, and it's important to have somebody on in the business to talk about it. So Cyberpunk 2077 recently, an article came out. Of course, Jason Schreier covered it. Respect to him. He said basically employees hit with a mandatory crunch. They just got their letters. They didn't know this was coming because Cyberpunk, the CD Projekt Red was very vocal early on, saying this is something that they're not going to do. They're not, the way that they've timed everything out on their schedule and their production, things should go according to plan. We don't need crunch. And then, of course, the media kind of hyped on them and hopped on top of this and said, guess what? Crunch is a bad thing, blah, 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 and they're going down the whole road. So without boring everybody with all that stuff, you guys all know how we feel. Code, again, could you refresh people on maybe what crunch is and there's pros and cons to just about everything in life. What are the pros and cons to crunch as far as a developer is concerned, not as a consumer or a journalist is concerned?
Right. So, I mean, that's a double-edged sword, right? Because the first time I went through crunch, it was just glorious. And I loved it to death. And we all did because we were like super excited to be part of the game finally. And we just was willing to work blood, sweat, and tears. But here's the thing. And that's why I stopped game development, because like crunch is forever. There is not a single video game developer who doesn't understand that there's going to be crunch. Crunch is part of the job.
That's right.
The issue is excessive crunch. I know people. Well, he just quit maybe 2 months ago because he was on crunch for 8 months of 80 hours a week, and he just had enough. And so the benefits of crunch. So there's the good. It's what's intended, right? The ideal, what the expectation is, and then the actual, what actually happens. The ideal is that, hey, we all gonna pitch in, put in a little more effort to get this thing over the finish line. So we're gonna ask a little more of you, but in return, we will reward you a little bit more. All this good stuff, and it's like this happy team thing. They buy you food and lunch and all of this stuff. That's to keep you there, to keep you motivated, to keep you working.
Yes.
It goes wrong when, and I don't know all the details here, so I'm reluctant to speak to their organization. But from the rumors that I understand, the people didn't know it was coming and they didn't expect it. Number one, it's going to be very bad when you surprise your team with crunch because people will have made plans.
That's right.
People will have different expectations, and so it becomes very disruptive. And so in that case, it becomes adversarial instead of us all working together because we love this product and we want to get it over the finish line. And when you demand it out the blue, so what actually happens is people are not motivated. The work ends up being poor. People, the chemistry is off.
Yes.
People are more quick-tempered. You know, just all the in any other field you can imagine. Like it's those same things. It's just that with the video games, a lot of that stuff is required. So it's just going to depend on how they do it, Mooch. It's not inherently good or bad. It's how do they handle it.
I think that was very well put. And I liked how you began the statement when you said, as a developer, you know that crunch is part of the job. It's kind of like when you work construction. You know that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you're going to have to work into the evenings and overnights, right? That's just the way that the business is.
Part of it.
Right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you're doing it 7 days a week. I get that. And you know, there's something that I'm going to say, and guys, I'm going to go to Crap after this. I really want to hear his take on it because he has a really good point on crunch as well. But my thing is this, and I'm speaking code as only somebody that, if you dream to be a developer or you were going to dream to be in that profession, I like the way that CD Projekt Red, I like the way that Naughty Dog, just because they've been vocal and they've been put under the microscope lately. I like how those companies take so much pride in their work and they want this game to be its very best, not just because of sales. Yes, of course it results in a monetary figure, but realistically speaking, they want this to be the best it can be because they put their names at the end of this. They put this on their resume, and it's what they walk around, right? This is what they walk around touting, and rightfully so. So if everybody on this panel, if we were making a game and we were together and we promised the consumer we'd have a game out by November 19th, and we were probably, 2 months behind, I'd say, guys, if we work overtime and Saturdays, we'll push it through. We'll get our due date out, and this game will be amazing. It'd be one hell of a pep rally I got to give you guys. But you guys will be paid for it. You'll be compensated, and just maybe we're putting the very best product out with our names on it. Crap, that's where I come from with this. I think hard work and dedication goes a long way. What's your take when you hear the crunch that Naughty Dog went through and now what CD Projekt Red is going through?
Well, I think that it's not a coincidence that like the really quality games are kind of associated with crunch. I mean, you look at Rockstar and Naughty Dog and CD Projekt Red now. I mean, those are quality games, and that's what they're kind of known for now. You know, you got to get into that little bit of crunch. I think that's something that people probably don't realize till you put two and two together. You know, I mean, again, I'm not in that industry, but a lot of people work, 6 days a week. Didn't really strike me as like a huge deal,
right?
To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't see that as like, oh my gosh, 6 days a week. I mean,
I've been doing that for about 20 years. Crap.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing I said. I was like, it's there was a time
you
there
work
for a couple
7
years
days
where I worked 7 days a week. Yeah. So, it's a different kind of industry. I get that, but I just think that, you're going to get what you're going to get with it. I think it's going to end up working out to getting a better quality game. I don't know exactly how it's going to turn out. Like, for whatever reason, people think that I'm joking when I say this, but Cyberpunk doesn't interest me. Mainly because first-person RPGs don't interest me. So, it's not something that I might play it if my brother gets it and we game share or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not something where I'm like living and dying by this game. I mean, I like The Witcher 3, but I never even finished it. You know, it was
Right.
like I did the same thing you did. I put 40, 50 hours into it and was like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, this game is slow. So, you know, it was I had a little bit of problem. I actually preferred The Witcher 2, in my opinion, you know.
Yeah.
You're bugging, crap.
No, man, I like it was a lot more linear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I one thing that I'm for is I say that not every game has to be like this big open world game. Like, I honestly just really liked how linear that game was, and you know, same thing with like, all right, like the Final Fantasy games. I never really bothered with those before. Final Fantasy VII's the first one. Well, the remake, it's not finished, but I mean that first part. That's the first like Final Fantasy game where I really put any time into, and I liked it. And I think one of the reasons why I liked it was because it was very linear.
Yeah. No, it really
But here's
was.
the thing, crap. At least you tried them first, and that I respect you for that. You tried it, made up your own mind, and then decided it wasn't for you. Can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll try most anything. You know, when it comes to games, it just really kind of depends on the genre and stuff. So, you know, I like gaming in general. So for me, you know, like I'll probably try Cyberpunk, but it's not something where I'm going to be like, oh man, I definitely got to get that, or I'm not as hyped about it as a lot of people are.
Right.
Hey, crap! You claimed that you said the other week that the Order was garbage. Have you played it?
I played it. I beat it. That was the first game.
Then you've got freeness of speech. I was going to say,
Yeah.
I love that game. I picked it up
Listen.
like 6 months ago, and I loved it. I was like, "What? Crap hates
Yeah, I'm
it."
playing
What?
it right now, trying to get the platform before PS5.
That
The
game-
thing is, right? Like I played. That was the first game that I bought with my PS4. I wanted, you know, say just like when I bought Rise. Okay, like it was a situation where I wanted it to really showcase what the console could do, and it does. It's like a very pretty game or whatever. But at the same time, there wasn't a whole lot of substance there for me personally.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was, you know, I mean, it looks good. It had an interesting story, but like you repeat the fights and the end fight, and there just was like some levels where there's not even any gameplay whatsoever. It's just like talking or
Hey,
whatever.
no spoilers.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, but you know, it's like
world that game has so much potential.
But
So,
why I liked that game was because it was linear, and I loved it. It kept me completely hooked.
It is that. Yeah, I like that. I like that aspect of it. You know, it's like a 6 out of 10 or whatever. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like I know people who love that game, just like I know people who love Rise. You know what I mean? Like some people just really love Rise, and I like that.
I love both of those games, brother.
Yeah, no, I liked Rise.
Tell them about it.
I'm that person.
That's one of the things, you know, when you talk about a large scale game, I know we're kind of just getting a bit off topic here, but that's my one thing that, and I've said this, guys, if you've been following this channel or listening to MNC, you guys would know that I've been saying this for a long time. This isn't because of this upcoming generation. Somebody's phone's ringing. Tell them that you're on CrossFire and you'll be available at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But besides that, I got to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of these massive games. Like, everyone seems to be excited again for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And tell me if I'm wrong, guys. If I'm wrong, I'm more than happy to stand aside. But I really feel like a lot of times everyone's like, I'm getting Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I can't wait. And then literally 2 weeks later, everyone's like, I put it down, I forgot about it. You know, like everybody just, like Assassin's Creed has just become so, it's like a 300-hour game, right, E? It's just gotten to a point where it's nauseating a bit.
Yeah, I've had like this debate like on the timeline before, you know, when I get more hype when a developer's like, you know, we're making this game, it's going to be this, and it's going to be about 30, 40 hours, RPG, whatever the case. I'm like, 30, 40 hours?
Yep, sign me up.
I like what you're saying. You got me there. You know, it's like when Outer Worlds hit, I was like, I like what you're saying. Multiple playthroughs. It's about this. You can do one really fast. You can make it about 40 hours. Sounds great. I don't have a problem with 100-hour games if that's where my focus is going to be, but sometimes I just don't have the time for that. So I like those quicker hit games that are still robust, you know? So, but yeah, I'll admit sometimes now when a developer comes out and they show you the map and they're like, you know, we're talking 200 hours. And I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, right?
You know? Reaction too, like, man.
That's
so
when I was younger,
at the time, Godspeed, go for it, you know. But sometimes people just don't have the time.
I didn't. So there was a point when I wasn't as well off financially, and every dollar counted. And I hated it when the game was short because it was like a waste of money. And I
remember that conversation, Code.
Yeah, every game to be as beefy as possible. But now I'm just like EJ. when they say 70, 80 hours, I just cringe like, oh God.
Yep.
But there was a time where anything less would have been unacceptable to me. So I think it's who the market is, who they're selling it to, y'all.
But you know what also, Code? I think a part of that too is there was a time where, we got influxes of games, but it wasn't hitting like now. Like now, every week you have, it's almost
that's also a good
in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I want to get to this one. I want to get to that one. And don't get me wrong. Like I have like 220 hours in The Witcher 3. I love that game. I have like 150. There are games I put a lot of time into. But I definitely love a dev that will respect your time, because sometimes those games feel bloated also.
But if you look at when The Witcher 3 came out, there was a bit of a lull there, right? And I'm not saying that there was nothing else that came out, because everyone would be like, "Look, Mooch, I fact checked. There's 85 games." I get it. But that was the big wig game, right? So that had a duration of time. It was, I always say that certain games come out with the perfect storm, and I think even like Marvel's Avengers, to give you another example, whether you like it or you don't like it. That game came out with the Marvel name at the end of the generation. There's nothing else, and they're guaranteeing everybody a PS5 and Xbox Series X enhancement. So it's a you can't lose situation if you like a looting type game. If you like that looting structure, plus you like the Marvel Avengers. It's just one of those games, and I think The Witcher was one of those other ones where there wasn't a ton of other games. It wasn't like, oh, I got to put The Witcher 3 down to play, fill in the blank. So there was a lot of time there to play that game. So I think a lot of people did utilize that. But now you've got Assassin's Creeds coming out every year. And with these Assassin's Creeds, they're all, you guys are being quite kind, by the way. I believe I've spoke to many people that finished Odyssey. It was well over 200 hours for a lot of them.
Right.
And they didn't even 1,000 out of 1,000 it or platinum it. So my point being is, right? So Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red, which I don't blame them. I like this, that they tried to reach an audience here. They came out and said that their game is going to be shorter than The Witcher 3, which when I translated that, it was like saying it'll be infinity minus 100. Right? I mean, what is that? Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, The Witcher 3, I've actually said this on many shows. I actually have The Witcher 3 in my will. I'm giving it to my kids because they can finish it. Yeah, they're going to finish it. So that's my thing. So, right?
I'm going to tell you right now, Mooch. It took me 6 months to finish The Witcher 3, right? To play it with the DLC, because I waited and played it with the DLC and everything.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Now, if you play the DLC too, you could be in there for
the DLC.
6 months, but it was a glorious 6 months, my brother.
Yeah,
and
it's well worth it.
Cyberpunk is going to give me that. That's what I'm expecting. You know what I mean? Yeah, go ahead and do that crunch. Get that good product out there. If I'm paying 70 yuccas for it, yeah, go ahead, bust your ass, kid. We all do.
Well, you know what? So,
bring me that good product. Bring it the way you're supposed to.
I gotta give, and Knox, you know what? This is gonna hit home for you and Xbot too. Simon Brady in the chat asks a good question. He says, "How many hours did you put into Destiny, Mooch?" I put in a lot of hours, Simon. But here's the difference: when you put Destiny down for a month or two and then come back to it, you can do that. Like when you leave a CD Projekt Red game, okay, whether it be Cyberpunk or The Witcher 3 or Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right? When you leave those games and then you come back to it 2-3 months later, you're like, where the hell am I? Who's that guy?
A Bloodborne or something. Right? You do the same thing. You're like, wait, where was I?
Where was I? Right. So when you leave Destiny's like once you beat the campaign, which by the way you're doing in the first like 15 hours, okay? Once you beat the campaign, if that, like, then it's just doing mission strikes over and over again and collecting things and going back and recouping your prize. That's different. So, Simon, great point, but not the same situation. You can leave a Destiny, you can leave certain games like that and come back.
I was muted. I'm like,
go ahead, Xbot.
Destiny is a different game. That when it comes down to it, Destiny, first off, it has a continuing story. You know, they're deciding on how to continue it in certain ways throughout the year, but you get through the story and then you get into what they call the end game. It's a grind game. Like you're grinding for the best weapons, for the PvE aspect, the best weapons for PvP. Like it's totally different than what CD Projekt Red makes, man.
Yeah, I would say not to sidetrack, but we talked about this on Brad the other night. I said Destiny has a different problem. Destiny has a inviting new players problem. You know, because if you're a person that grinds Destiny constantly, you're always in there. Like we talk about Forte and Luke is always in there. Mm-hmm. If you're a person that you're not that dedicated and you put it down for like a couple of weeks or a week even, you come back and people are like, "Hey man, I'm level 17,000. Where are you?" I'm level 400.
I will say if you're a player, you're gonna still do it. You know what I mean? Because I do that. Like I put Destiny down. and go play like Ghosts and The Last of Us, and then I come back and then I feel like a noob. I come back and I feel like a noob. Shout out to Luca, by the way. We ran the pit today, right? We were doing the pit, me, Bronx, and Luca, and we, and it was a good flow. You always gonna get it back if you like that loop, if you like that gameplay loop and that style of game. You're always gonna go back to it.
No, I completely agree.
I think you probably got more skills than EJ, bro. You got to speak for yourself, man.
Code throwing a little shade out there.
Mandatory crunch. Going back to mandatory crunch
go ahead,
for a
Woolley.
second, yeah. I don't think anybody expects it. It's a bit like a lovely missus or husband or whoever's at home cooking a nice meal, promises you, when you get home there's a nice meal ready for you. They plan to have that meal ready for that time, but things come up and it's unexpected, and what happens? They crunch, running around the kitchen like a headless chicken trying to get it ready. Similarly, devs don't plan to crunch. They're not wanting a crunch, but it comes up unexpected because it's art. It's art, and that's how art works. If you have a deadline, you got to meet that deadline. So I don't think it's intentional, and I think work conditions, crunch conditions, are a massive factor between what's acceptable and what's not.
Right.
Just
and
to
I think
go
it also
on,
comes down to like how your employees are treated.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Crunch. That's what I mean by crunch conditions.
If I can highlight something for you, Mooch, like Colin Mori already pointed this out the other day. He says CD Projekt is forecasting net $500 million in profit for his fiscal year, right? Mm-hmm. He said it gives 10% of his profits to his employees as bonuses.
Yep.
He said they employ roughly 1,000 people, so in that situation, the average bonus will be about $50,000 per person, and their median per capita income in Poland is $5,000 a year. So they've addressed that. They ended up having to crunch, and I think, depending on the industry that you're in, this does happen. And I kind of have this debate with people back and forth. And I said, I know we're gamers, and we look at this through a lens of gamers. But I said, and it's great to have a bleeding heart for people that end up having to crunch, but you also have to know the industries that you're involved in.
Exactly.
And
I wonder how many of those people using the numbers you just said. Think about this for a second, right? And actually, Colin posted them, but you just reread them. I'll be honest with you, E. I bet you those employees have no problem making that $50,000.
It doesn't sound like
in
it because,
bonus money.
Like Crap was saying, when you're working for like premier, studios that put out a certain quality, you're also moving forward. You say, hey, this is now on my resume. So now you can go to an initiative because you worked on Cyberpunk,
right?
Or you worked on this, or you worked on that, because you're putting it in. But if you're looking to, to be in a spot where you're going to punch the clock, you're 9 to 5. It's nothing wrong with that. But again, there's certain studios or certain industries where it just doesn't happen. And you should always have compassion for people. But I said, where I kind of get into debates with people is, I feel, not that I don't feel bad for people who have to crunch, but I also say too, this is where I get in trouble. I said, no one has a gun to your head to do it.
Right.
And I know it's not as easy as picking up and leaving. What's that?
Yeah, they do. They do have a gun to your head if your livelihood is on the line.
No, and Code, that's what I'm saying. This is where I get into trouble. But I said, I look at it in terms of there's plenty of industries where people crunch and don't see, and again, it comes down to how employees are treated and don't see the same return on that work that they're putting in.
Sure.
And I throw this out all the time because right. And I throw this out all the time. How many of you have the bleeding heart for the people that teach your children?
Right.
You don't see when they're up till 4 a.m. putting lesson plans together, doing this and that, working on grade books, going to school, dealing with your kids who are a complete nightmare all day long, having to put on 4 different hats of nurse, therapist, and everything else. You know what I'm saying? And that's just one example.
That's
again, I'm not diminishing what people go through in crunch, but for some reason, when we come into the Twitterverse and the gaming community, we get into this war over how the crunch thing goes. And I said, and that's why I said, I don't diminish it by saying no one has a gun to your head. I don't want to see anyone lose their job or have to decide or choose.
No.
I say at the end of the day, you have to weigh what's important to you. And Code, you did that. You said, this ain't for me.
And Code also said that developers know going into it, that's part of the job. Right? And
I came from the advertising world, Mooch. There were times I worked 24 hours.
That's
right. Where my eyes were about to fall out of my head. And the screen's blurring together. But guess what? Code said my livelihood was attached to that.
Right.
I got to a point where I said, I can't do this anymore.
Right. You either said, I'm going to do this or I'm out. And you were out. Right. And that's respectable. And, I listen, maybe it's because I get too hungry while we're broadcasting Crossfire here. But I constantly you go down to Manhattan real quick. I don't care if it's Monday. You know, in smaller towns, it's like, well, restaurants get packed on Saturday. Well, in Manhattan, and you know what? You can ask Knox in the Bronx. You can ask him anywhere. It's just as packed on a Tuesday at 6 p.m. as it is on a Saturday. It's packed. So ask a cook that's working at a restaurant.
Facts, yeah.
How many? He's doing 250 tables a night. All right, and they're getting there prepping at I don't know what kind of godly hour, 8, 9 in the morning. They don't leave till 11, 12 at night. And that's if that bar, that's if that restaurant isn't also a nightclub bar afterwards. So
they acting like a Saturday on a Tuesday.
That's right. It's true.
That's the thing. That's the thing. There's cultures around it. I don't have the answers on how to fix it, but you know, a lot of these things have always been this way. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying there's something that needs to be fixed. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that is, because you also run into a thing of supply and demand. You don't like it, but guess what? There's somebody behind you who is okay to do it.
Yeah, they'll take the job.
Right. So again, it's that way. It's like, what do you do?
Who's hungry? That's the thing. That's what makes well, at least the capitalist world go around, right? It's that hunger. Yeah.
Right. And there's industries like that. And again, you know, yeah, we focus on the gaming, but this goes on in the Hollywood world with movies. This goes on in advertising. This goes on, you know, it's
everywhere. Yeah.
It's aggressive. It's cutthroat. It goes on in game writing.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
I want to.
Knox said he don't care. Just make sure the product is right. I heard him say it.
Yeah.
Yo, Eric,
Yeah.
I agree with
Go
you.
ahead, Nova.
It's in any industry, we just focus in on it because it's about gaming. But like you said, teachers. I mean, you could name a whole list of industries where crunch happens and no one says a peep about it. And yeah, going off of what Woolley was saying earlier, I agree with you, man. Like, obviously, if you're in game development, you know it's a possibility that at some point in development, closer towards the end, there is a chance that if something messes up, there's going to be crunch. And we all know with Cyberpunk specifically that they've had to take out features. You know, we've seen this in real time. They've talked about it publicly. You know.
No, real quick before you go on, I just
want
to clarify. There's not a chance that it is going to happen.
It's gonna, right.
It is just how much of it is going to happen. There is never no crunch.
So Jason Schreier tweeted 3 days ago. He said, last year, the boss of CD Projekt Red approached me for an interview. They wanted to announce a Cyberpunk 2077. They would be avoiding mandatory crunch. This week, they sent an email to staff studio-wide announcing mandatory crunch. So, I mean, again, they know what industry they're in. They know that Cyberpunk is going to sell gangbusters. It's going to do crazy. So, yeah.
Like with that quote right there, and if you read further into that, you'll notice like 2/3 of the staff was doing what they called voluntary crunch.
Yep.
So like the crunch was happening, and that's why I'm saying it depends on how much it is. Is it excessive? Did you catch the team off guard? Because when it's done right, it's everyone working together, happily contributing. When it's done poorly, it becomes adversarial. There's always crunch. It just depends on how it's handled.
Yeah, and just like you said, no, I don't think like Woolley was saying, I don't think anybody intends for it. You know, but again, it's how it's parsed, how it's handled. You know, if you're always up against it and you have taskmasters, you know, because I'm sure there's studios like that. I'm sure that's a bitch. But if they're saying too, hey, like, guys, this is what it is. This is what we're gonna do, and you're getting a part of it, and you're made to feel like it's family. You might not feel that as much. You know.
Yep.
Or I mean, you're gonna feel it, but obviously, you know, it's a whole difference in how you take it. If you feel you're being valued, it's a whole different wave. You know. Versus somebody who's just like, yo, it is what it is. And if you don't like it, there's the door. That's a whole different energy.
I agree completely. Now, you know, I got 2 discussion pieces here today, and I'm really interested to hear what the panel thinks and what the chat's thinking. Guys, please do retweet this out. Let everybody know that we are live. You know, so Series X recently has been, you guys see everybody out there, right? Everybody's taking pictures on Twitter. They're holding it. You see their thumb. Their famous YouTube thumbs are in the picture on Twitter, and they're like, look, I got my Series X. Me and my Series X. Here I am, me and Series X, X and Series and me. Right, so they're doing the whole thing. And Microsoft said this. Aaron Greenberg, I believe, and crap, you can correct me where I'm wrong here. Aaron Greenberg came out and said something along the lines of they're going to go this route of grassroots advertising versus the traditional routes of billboards, TV, and things that work in that fashion. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad idea at all, because if you're in our community, if you're attached to YouTube, and a lot of people are, by the way, right now, YouTube is blowing up. I think this is a good idea. I do. But then when I think about all my friends that aren't in the gaming community circle, right? They don't watch the YouTubers, and I mean big YouTubers. They don't even watch the big YouTubers, the iJustines, the Marquises, all those guys that do tech talk, all those big channels that have millions of subscribers. They don't even watch them, but they have a gaming console in their homes. They're watching things on TV, like my friend, and actually, believe it or not, my friend had mentioned it because he's a big Atlanta Braves fan, so he's watching the Braves game. My Mets, of course, didn't make the playoffs even in this short, reduced season. That's another problem for another topic for a different podcast. But anyways, but then you saw James, I believe his name was James Stevenson or something like that. He's a community manager for Insomniac, and he goes, a lot of PlayStation 5 commercials on the MLB playoffs. That's where people see stuff that I know that are in the air quote casuals. So my question to you guys on the panel, Crap, I'll start with you, is what's your take on how they're trying to get the influencers of YouTube and social media to push the Series X, and Microsoft not going with the big budget commercials on NBC, ABC, CBS, etc.?
Well, it shows they're a little bit out of touch because a lot of the stuff that we see advertised is the big popular stuff. So, I feel like they're a little bit out of touch in that regards, because I can remember even Greenberg going, well, we advertise on the dashboard because, that's where people are. Like, you're only going to really advertise to your own people that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're never going to reach anybody else. So I feel like that's probably one of the worst ways to go about it. But, this is the same tactic that they use with the Xbox One X. Remember all the influencers that hated on Xbox for the entire generation got free Xbox One X's and a bunch of games with it. And then everybody's like, man, this is so nice of Microsoft. They rock. And then a week later, they were back to playing Destiny on their PS4. Like I can foresee that same type of situation happening.
Right.
I just don't see people, if they've built up some kind of catalog, if they built up, in that ecosystem games and just, I'm going to go and play, go and switch to Xbox. I personally don't see that happening. My personal
Well, I like where you went with that, guys. I don't know on the panel if you guys heard what Crap said, but what he said actually does hold a lot of weight. Back when the Xbox One X was coming out back in 2017, Microsoft did the exact same thing they're doing now. They sent it out to the massive media out on YouTube, and you saw everybody being like, oh my God, the most powerful console. I'm actually sitting on it. It's unbelievable. This is amazing, right? But then, the absolute second that they were done with that promo, they just put it on their desk, and then every time they would play a game, they're like, today I'm streaming my game on my PS4 Pro, and you're like, wait a minute, what? Like, you have the better version on the Xbox One X, yet you're still playing on the PS4 Pro? Well, that's where I got my friends and my most established things, I got my trophies, whatever. They made up all the excuses in the world. So, Code, I guess I'll go to you. You're kind of in my camp with the old traditional values of billboards, TV, and using social media and YouTube, where Microsoft, you don't see so much on TV. And I'm not saying they don't do anything on TV, but they don't do as much as Sony does on TV. As you can see, they're advertising the PS5 and Spider-Man on during the Major League Baseball playoffs. What's your take on that? Is that something that you would say is a smart move for them to go with these influencers, or no, they should probably step it back a bit and maybe go back to the old school roots of TV and billboards?
Mooch, man, honestly, all of that stuff is above my pay grade, man. Look, they pay me to build the software, and I let them bastards sell it. So whatever they
but Code, listen, if I'm your publisher, right now, I'm not Mooch the developer, I'm Mooch the publisher, and I'm supposed to take your hard work, and now it's my job to move it, right?
Ooh, yeah,
right. It's my job to move it, and if I'm not moving it right, I mean, listen, you could say you might not mind, but you're going to tell somebody in the office it's time to get a different publisher, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely above my pay grade. I would hope you have done some analytics and you sort of have a plan. But if I get the feeling that, like things ain't going the way they're supposed to, might have to pull an ice cube and go in there in the office and holler at you for a minute.
Well, I mean, like, just to give an example, and just shout out Greg Miller, for example. He's a big time PlayStation fan, right? There's no way around that. He's got like a zillion trophies, platinums, etc. You guys fill in the blank. Like, he's got an Xbox Series X. Like, that's great. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that go to Kind of Funny Games. I do. I watch this shit. It's. But after he's done doing the promo for it, like, I don't see him being like, you know what? well, I'm making this up. My 180
Yeah.
platinum trophies.
Film.
I'm going to throw that away. It's time for me to switch to the Series X and wait for Halo till next year. Like,
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Right? So, like, that's why when you see some of these personalities, listen, same thing when you guys, everybody that's in the chat now, people that are listening later, people that are subscribed. By the way, don't forget to hit the button. It's right there. I think you use a half of a calorie hitting that button. Use that half a calorie, guys. I appreciate it. But I mean, at the same time, I would say this much. You know when you go to that influencer's channel, what they're prescribing to you. So my point being with that is that when I go see Greg Miller, you watch a Greg Miller production, you know, after he's done doing the promo that he's going to do, and he's going to give his opinion on the box, after that, you know that he's not going to make that his primary console. And you know that from others. I'm just using Greg as an example. There's others out there that are the same way. So, you know, let me ask, I'll go to Wooly and then Nova. I want to hear what you guys got to say. Wooly, what's your take when you see the influencers, you know, getting a hold of these and everyone's seemingly like, everybody's so excited. They're like, look at me, I got my Series X. And
I see why there were no pre-orders though, man. They all went to the influencers.
Yeah, they went to the influencers, right?
Actually, they're not all of them are keeping them.
No, they're not. You're right.
I've watched many videos, and they're
Xbox,
like,
right?
For the time I have with this,
that's right,
and stuff like that.
They have to pass them on. So depending on how big the influencer is, some are I hear getting it for upwards of a month. I heard some are getting it as low as a week, and they have to repackage it and send it out to another influencer because they are shorthanded. That was mentioned on a few different shows that I saw.
I'm just joking.
No. But that's a valid point. I'm just saying, like, myself personally, I don't. Yeah, right. I just think
I'm with you.
You know, go ahead, Wooly. Let me hear what you got to say.
I'm with you on that. And you know, for me, I'm 27, yeah, but I'm still old. I'm just young enough to have been raised in the time before internet was a big phenomenon. You know, it became a phenomenon in 2000, and you know, I had a few years before mobile phones were a thing. So billboards and especially on buses, for some reason, resonate with me a lot. I do pay attention to them. Yeah. As for YouTube influencers, dude, did you hear what that woman being interviewed by Greg Miller said the other day? You know,
yes.
Xbox, Sony, PlayStation don't give me free shit, so I don't care about PlayStation.
Right.
You know, and that's a quite a paraphrase, to be fair. You know, I'm paraphrasing her, but she was very, very salty about it. Shout out to Salty's Gaming in the chat. And but she was very, very salty about PlayStation, and her primary reason was she's a PC gamer, yet she prefers Xbox and Sony don't give her free stuff. So in my opinion, I think you have to choose your influencers carefully. Like for me, a reviewer that I go to is ACG. I like ACG because he buys a copy of every game he reviews.
Yes, he's very good.
This is to prevent him from being swayed in any way by the possibility of being swayed by the generosity of a company before reviewing one of their first-party games.
Yeah.
And similarly, it's also because he's a stand-up guy and he appreciates his community. But nonetheless, you know, I think there's a difference between an influencer who is paid to sponsor or is sponsored by a company and reviewing their game, which I just won't even give a second look. I won't give the time of day to. I won't watch the video. If they're being sponsored by, for example, PlayStation and reviewing God of War, I'm not going to watch the video. If they're being sponsored by, but I don't think PlayStation sponsor any YouTube creators anyway, but if Xbox are sponsoring a YouTube creator and they review an Xbox game, I'm not going to watch the video because it's being sponsored by them. And so, of course, they're going to have nothing but positive things to say about them. And so I think personally, we have to. There's a difference between a big gaming corporation like IGN, right, and a YouTube personality, right? So a gaming corporation like IGN, you expect a level of candid, unbiased. That's definitely. I don't think that's apparent at the moment at all. I do think there is bias there, but regardless, a YouTube personality, they're allowed a bias. They're allowed to have a bias because they're a personality. They're not a corporation. They are not tied down to being what they should be as what's the word?
Well, I want to say, listening to you speak, man, you are very well spoken, which is very surprising because your tweets is trash, man.
Optimus, You know what, bro? Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment.
He has a way of like working you out in the gym, man. He'll compliment
Go ahead,
you and then
I gotta hear that.
Real quick now. First off, if they're going all strictly grassroots and they're not throwing out the advertisements in the general space for general consumers, to catch the eye of the casual gamers and stuff like that, that is a huge mistake. When it comes to the influencers and stuff, I've watched a lot of videos from IGN to Austin to a couple other people I didn't even know, but their thumbnail they had their picture. Oh yeah, I got the Series X and stuff like that.
Right.
I gotta say, I like what they're saying with what they are allowed to talk about right now. And a big thing when it came to these Series X's going out and the first videos going out, where people were talking about, well, they're only playing like the Xbox One games. And if you watch these videos, a lot of them are saying, well, this is what I can talk about. This is what I'm allowed to talk about right now. Future content coming in terms of, they're taking their time with the Series X, whatever allotted time that they have, and they're making their content and they can only release like certain parts out.
So Xbot, you're 100% accurate on what you just said, as a matter of fact, on what they're allowed to say. But I guess I'm going to throw a volleyball up there and see if anybody can maybe spike it down. I'm confused on when they say this is what I'm allowed to talk about. And I'm not being funny. I'm not trying to be rude. There's no first-party games coming out between now and November 10th. So what is it that they're not allowed to show us? Maybe the UI, but we don't care. Like what we care about is the games, right?
They showed the UI, actually. They showed the dashboard.
Right.
Not into detail.
Mooch, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, X, but I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, but like they do have like second party games and stuff that people can go hands on with in terms of being content creators, and getting a feel for the game and not just taking it from the developers and waiting for the reviews when they come out and stuff like that. There are other things that they can show that isn't just like this generation's games. There are second party deals with games on the Series X that are only coming out for the Series X and Series S that they can talk about. And I'm interested to see what information, because they told us that load times, back compat, basically controller and look of the system were the first things, the first embargoes that were lifted.
Right.
So that was the first content that came out. So I want to see what other content is coming out after that.
But that makes two of us. And I'm going to give you the mic in a second. Shout out to Porter Rock 7076.
Because I want to get that volleyball you put up there.
No, that's fine. You got the mic right after this. He said, sounds like what Sony's doing. Apparently the Astro game will be shown first, which doesn't make sense. The first impression should be big impression. First of all, P-Rock, I'm right there with you on all that. My only thing is this. The only reason I'm kind of giving Sony a bit of a play here is just because Sony has shown us Miles Morales. Sony has shown us PlayStation 5 games, right? We've seen an in-depth playthrough of Demon's Souls. So they have shown us something. Where I'm a little bit more critical on Xbox right now and saying they have an embargo and they're showing us, Gears 5 at 120 frames, I'm like, Xbox, and like you said this at the beginning of the show, Xbox has got a little bit more to prove. So I would think that Xbox isn't going to want to have these small sample sizes of embargoes. And really, at the end of the day, like P-Rock's saying, and like I'm saying, I want to see Sony's games. Sony's got first-party games to show me. So whether they show that next week or the week after, those games are coming. And again, here's the volleyball. I'm going to give you the mic. What's Microsoft going to show me on the next embargo? They don't have a first-party game, and there's no third-party. There's no second-party game. Third-party they do with Valhalla, but there's no second-party game seemingly ready for launch either, except for possibly Yakuza.
And we're a month out too.
So go ahead, E. My fault.
No. I just wanted to say this, and this isn't about dunking or whatever the case may be, but yeah, they sent these things out to the influencers, right? And the influencers, every one of them had the same thing to say this week. They talked about, quick resume, how fast all this stuff is, right? Who are they talking to?
Xbox fans.
The people who already know what that thing does.
Yep.
In that regard. Yes, we've seen it because Austin gave a demonstration of this months ago. So we've seen it. So you're preaching to the choir. You're telling people who already battled to get a pre-order in because they know what this thing is going to do, right? But who are you catching? It's like it sounded like they sat in a room and they said, "Hey, all you guys, write down on a piece of paper and we'll put it in the hat who your favorite influencer is, and then we'll send something to them." Didn't seem like there was any like true rhyme or reason to it. And again, you're talking to the same audience. So to hit what Mooch is saying, who are you trying to go after through the holidays? Who are you trying to go after in the long run? Because guess what? You can laugh and you can joke, but that Minecraft Steve on Switch for Smash Brothers, that's gonna do gangbusters.
That's gonna sell this holiday. When you see Miles Morales on the NBA playoffs and on the Major League Baseball playoffs, that's gonna sell PlayStation 5s. What I'm saying to you is, when fill in the blank big YouTube channel guy is like, "I got my Series X," and he does a little funny skit with it, and he's like, "Look, I'm playing Gears 5," and nope, the casuals that are the mom and pops, the kids that are watching TV, they're watching sports. They're not gonna see that. Seemingly.
And don't get me wrong, Mooch. Like, I like the Lamar Wilsons of the world and all that. I find them.
Absolutely, very entertaining.
But don't kid yourself when you have Into the Spider-Verse, which was one of the biggest movies of last year, and now everybody who didn't know about Miles now has a fever pitch for this character. So there's Sony throwing that out there, right?
Right.
So again, if you're out here trying to gain market share and mind share or whatever, showing people quick resume through influencers ain't gonna do it.
That was what I was thinking, and maybe I'm wrong, and only time will tell. But like I say,
they also showed it to IGN and stuff like that as well.
They did. Like, that is true. That is a big major game.
But my point is, we can say this. Okay, the thing that's always said is Microsoft is the tech company, and this is where they outpace Nintendo and Sony, right? But those two sons of bitches are entertainment companies, and they know how to get that message out there.
Facts.
When you show God of War on a basketball court during halftime, who are you talking to? You're trying to catch the person that doesn't really know what you're up to, but damn, that's impressive. That game looks pretty cool.
Yep.
Right?
YouTube commercial.
When you paint a subway train with Spider-Man and let it ride all through the city, that says something. You're trying to get a message out there. I'm going back. The last time I really remember Microsoft doing something cool for TV was their Get In promotion when they were launching the Xbox One. And they had the Titanfall Titan, and they had all this stuff. That was a fire commercial. Since then, go back a few years, they had Dana McBride selling Game Pass. What?
Right.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great.
I'm saying if you're in this, the consumer friendliness is all that. Get that out there. Talk to people. I saw Nintendo Switch advertised on HGTV at 10 o'clock at night. Is that necessarily their audience? No, but that's the person that has the money to go buy it for their kid.
That's exactly.
I'm pushing Game Pass all down their throat.
The other thing you have to understand is, and I always try to say this, and it's hard sometimes to put this into words, but like I try my best to say this, is that we're all in the Twitter space, we're in the gaming community space. So when I say these things, people are like, "Mooch, what are you talking about?" Like millions upon millions of people are saying. I get millions upon millions of people. Do you know how many people are watching the Lakers game? Do you know how many people are watching? Even listen, the Braves aren't even a big market in baseball, but Atlanta's a big ass city, right? Like they're watching that stuff, and that stuff that is. I'll give it. He gave 2 examples, which were really good. 2018 draft for the NFL draft. We had our fantasy football draft out of the bar. This was back when we used to be able to go out. That was fun. And right, so the huge projector screen at this bar, a massive thing in New York. And what do they play? I'm not even shitting you. Just before the NFL first game came on in 2018, it was the Spider-Man PS4, and they had like a solid minute commercial. And 2-3 people that are with me in my draft, they don't know about the gaming community. They have you know what they have? Call of Duty, and they have Madden. And they turned to me, they're like, "Dude, I gotta get that." And I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this kid don't know nothing about, my buddy, he don't know nothing about anything we talk about. And he saw one commercial before the NFL kickoff on 2018, and now he's going to go buy a PS4. He bought a PS4 for Spider-Man.
Mooch,
that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Go ahead.
Yo, Rockman in the chat. Now, see, I've been watching the NBA Finals, but I've been watching it through the ESPN app, right? So I don't necessarily I don't see all the commercials and stuff, but he keeps saying that Xbox has been doing commercials throughout the NBA Finals. That right there is comparable to the Major League, baseball playoffs as well. So if that's the case, like I know Aaron Greenberg said grassroots, maybe they're doing a combination of both. And
That's right. That's right.
Right there. And that right there, I
hope
would
so.
agree with. Now, I first time I commented on this, I did say if all they're doing is grassroots, then that is a mistake. So I agreed with E. I agreed with you guys on that.
Yes.
But if they are mixing both in together, then I can't really say nothing wrong against it.
We've got some breaking news from insider Jeff Grubb. This just in: Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts looks fantastic on Xbox Series X. That's the tweet. That's the tweet. That's the tweet. That's the breaking news, guys. That's the big Xbox Series X news. A game from 2007 looks great.
Breaking
in
news.
2020. Wow. I got to get me that Series X now. I didn't know that Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts was going to look fantastic. I'm in. Day one now, folks.
How many frames are running at?
I don't know, but for this insider to say it looks fantastic on Series X, I'm sold. Old games, new again. Let's go.
Yo, I got some stuff to chime in. So, Eric, you're 100% right. Microsoft is definitely just preaching to the choir, and like the examples you gave, Sony, they're going balls to the walls. They're trying to get the message out to people who wouldn't normally pick this up. And Wooly, just going on what you were saying, I did see that Greg Miller interview with that lady, and I just want to say I'm sure she got her Cyberpunk chair. Just want to say tomorrow
and a Thrustmaster.
Yeah, and a Thrustmaster
and a phone.
Tomorrow,
1200.
The embargo's going up, or it's going up for Japanese influencers who will have the PS5 in hand. They've had it for a little bit. Now they're going to be putting out the content tomorrow. So, again, these things are staggered. Sony's now showing their cards. We don't know what we're going to see. They might be showing off exclusives, right? Or they might be.
I do agree with P-Rock in the chat, though. What he said was, because I think he's right. Like, at this point, Sony, now that Microsoft has theirs out to influencers, you might as well show more than Astrobot, right? Like, show Miles Morales. Show it being played. Yeah. Let them play the game. And get a true opinion out there.
Exactly. Show the Souls games,
Right.
And I think if they do that, that's going to resonate way better, because not only are we seeing the new hardware being loaded up with influencers having it, but they're seeing actual next gen titles, which I think is going to make the difference. Also, another point, it sucks. I see a lot of, like you were saying, Greg Miller has it, who's a PlayStation guy. Some of these the biggest Xbox YouTubers, I'm sure they're a little salty right now that they're not getting it. They know who they are. And also, people are hyping quick resume on these games that we've already seen and played already, but
yes,
they don't know what's coming for them when they see that PS5 SSD.
Well, I found that interesting too, Nova, right? That when everyone was kind of on the quick resume as a game changer, I'm like, and guys, tell me if I'm wrong. Code, Crap, E, any of you guys that know, Wooly, if you guys are in the know, let me know. Xbot, PlayStation doesn't have quick resume?
It will have, totally, 100%. Not quick resume in terms of title or buzzword, but come on, dude, that system's able to stream 20 up to 19 gigabytes in a second.
Have they said anything about?
Right? Have they mentioned? I mean, yeah, I'm with you, Wooly, but wait, Xbox. That's what I'm asking. Is have we heard anything? Maybe they don't have a buzzword like Xbox does.
Outside of a patent, we haven't heard anything. I guess that might be something we hear this weekend from one of those YouTubers that get a chance to do it. But I mean, if you look at the PS4, that had quick resume on one game as well. So, you were able to pick up where you left off. And, I would assume that, they're going to be able to do with that solid state drive that they have. I'm sure that it's an afterthought, honestly.
But you know what? There's a big game changer that's been overlooked with the PS5, and that's downloading a game and playing it whilst it's downloading. And that hasn't been confirmed for the Xbox. So, there's two sides to every coin.
There's trade-offs, right? It's exactly the same way. I don't remember if this is the same case, but, Wooly, I'm glad you brought that up. Back when the iPhone first came out, people were like, should I get it on AT&T or I'll wait for Verizon? And the one thing that AT&T kind of held over Verizon, even though Verizon had the better network technically on paper, was that you could make a phone call and stream the internet on your AT&T iPhone, where you couldn't do that originally with your Verizon phone. So that was, like you say, Wooly's just saying, when there's some kind of a cool feature, maybe there's one that's compensated, or there's something else on the other console that the other one doesn't have. So that's true. Let me just read a couple of these super chats, and then I want to get into another discussion piece that we have real quick. And I'm going to read this from the great Sin Vendetta wrote this a while ago. This is because Luca was saying that she did not want to do the Chalice Dungeons. Sin says, all right, Luca, I wish everyone luck in trying to get the pure Bladestone and Demon Souls remake without going crazy trying to get that platinum. Absolutely. Axel says, guys, we're just 1 month away from having the PlayStation 5 in our possession. Looking forward to a good fun next gen. Shout out to Wooly for great Twitter content. Very true, Axel. Sir X-Man says, I want Porter Rock 77 on Crossfire one day. Awesome. Yeah, we got to get P-Rock on here. Absolutely. I agree with that, Sir X-Man. Showan says, y'all still stuck on tradition. Xbox abandoned it. Showan's talking about the traditional roots.
Or got knocked out of it. I mean, come on. I mean, they didn't abandon it because it doesn't work. They abandoned it because they lost a taste out of their mouth because Sony backhanded them. Let's just, we gotta keep it real, right? Like, you don't go 115 million consoles to 41 million and, just go, oh, well, this, we gotta, we're gonna go different. I mean, they went a different way because there was no other choice for them.
Hold on,
right?
hold on. Here's the question. Given that they giving these Xboxes to PlayStation guys, if they gave you an Xbox crap, would you review it honestly? The series,
I would review it. I would review it 100% honestly, and I would also be probably one of the ones to be a little bit disappointed that, hey, I got this new console, and the first things that I'm talking about is old games.
Like, you hate already. You ain't even got it.
That strikes me as odd. Like, Code, doesn't that, like, you're a developer. We're a month away from this console, and we haven't seen a single. We haven't seen a single. We have not seen a single stitch of new gameplay on an Xbox Series X.
We've seen the Falconeer.
No,
Code, don't you dare, Code. Don't you dare go there.
Was it on a PC? Was it on a dev kit? Not only that, but look, this thing was announced last year. And we haven't seen anything new on it. Whereas the S just got announced, 3 weeks ago, and we've already seen Assassin's Creed and all these other. And not only that, but a lot of games are coming out now, and they're saying, well, we're going to patch in the ray tracing afterwards. Like
a lot of games, 2 games that said that, dude.
Well, when you don't have a lot of games coming out, 2's a lot.
Exactly. I think their launch lineup is 4 or something, right? So, I mean, when you've got, even their own first party in Halo, like, obviously those kits are probably coming in pretty hot for them not to want to show it.
I mean, a lot. There was only 2. Come on, bro.
Well, their whole entire launch lineup, two that we know of so far.
Well,
we seen Dirt 5 on the Series S though.
Oh yeah.
God. Oh yeah, we certainly saw it. All right.
Cardboard cutout. Now we know why that thing's hitting 120 frames though. I mean, look, for like that was going to be given though. Like Dirt has never been like a graphically impressive series, so kind of is what it is. But I mean, it's still pretty cool. It doesn't look great, but at least it looks.
Let me back
up 120 frames.
Let me back up your point for a second. And Code, I gotta be honest with you. This is the first time, and no one's seemingly really talking about it. Only I've heard Crap and a handful of other people bring this up. I mean, Code, listen. We make jokes, okay, but this is where experience comes into play. One of my favorite lines from Infinity War from the Avengers movie was when Thanos is talking to Loki, and he says, well, I can go down to Earth, and he goes, if you consider experience failure, and he goes, I consider experience. And you've got a lot of experience in new console releases and being here for a lot of these over the years. Like, when was the last time you went to the store, plunked down hard-earned money, and left without a first-party game with your box? I mean, I got to be honest with you. I mean, you're older than I am, and I'm saying that as wiser, okay, Code? But, like, in all honesty, that's never happened, and why aren't more people talking about it?
You're right. Like, I'm going to have to think about that because I don't remember that ever happening.
It's never happened. This is the first time that you're seeing a brand new generation, a brand new piece of hardware for that generation releasing with no first party title. And
I mean, I can't say that wasn't their intention. No, they intended to have.
That's right.
Yeah. But damn, that's a good question.
No, I mean that's the thing. It's and you know what? It's funny. At Xbox, I know where you're going with this, and I'm going to completely back you up on that. They definitely thought Halo Infinite was going to be their, but again, like that's
also not have a couple of things ready.
A couple
right?
of things, yeah.
Listen, here's the thing that I would have figured for sure. You have a racing game ready, right? How the hell do you not have a racing game ready? I don't know. They were on a 2-year cycle for the longest time. You got 1 year, you got a Motorsport. The next year, you got a Horizon. Then a Motorsport, then a Horizon. Horizon 2 came out exactly 2 years ago today. So,
Horizon
Horizon 4. Forza Motorsport came out 3 years ago, and yet that's still only in early production. I don't understand how, again, and I've used this analogy before, you got like TV network people sitting in a room and they've got this thing and it's got like all the dates and times and okay, we got to fill this slot, this slot, this slot, this slot. Let's put this show here, this show here, this show here. Like, how could you not have a group of, these are millionaires working for $1 trillion company deciding to build these consoles 4 or 5 years ago, and you don't have, okay, well, let's talk about content. We got to have this content. Let's get a racing game to show it off. Let's get Halo in there, our big one. We really let the fans down. Let's get a racing game. Let's get Halo. Let's get 2, 3, 4 other exclusives ready to go to really showcase what we can do. Like, none of that was there because we don't know of anything that's coming next year aside from Halo either, right? Like,
in all actuality, this generation coming up has the smallest amount of first party across the board.
I think Sony has their most amount of first party that they've had for a launch ever. Yeah.
Demon Souls. You're talking Demon Souls?
Demon Souls, Destruction All-Stars, Spider-Man. They're also going to be launching Sackboy.
First party game.
Returnal.
Anything that they own. It is. But they're still publishing it. They still own it.
Japan Studio is first party, dude.
Actually, their studio is helping to build it as well.
Y'all trying to stack the deck.
Well,
within their first year as well, within their first launch year. Okay, so we can even talk about next year. We know Gran Turismo 7. We know Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. We know Horizon. Let me finish.
Going off of
Let me finish.
Somewhere else, man.
Let me finish. Can I finish or not?
Xbot, let Crap finish.
Can I finish?
Then Xbot, you can take the mic.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so let's go into what we know is coming next year from their first party. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Gran Turismo 7. We also know that Returnal is coming. We also know that Horizon Forbidden West. And we also know that the God of War sequel is coming. Now, what's confirmed on Xbox's side is coming that we know of that can compete with that's going to be coming next year. Only Halo. And that's maybe the end of the year, but it could be 2022.
I was trying to save you some breath, Crap Gamer, because that is not what I said. I said at the launch of a generation, right? At the launch, what Mooch said, you're going in, he asked Code, you're going in and you're buying the hardware day one, and there's no first party thing there. And he's right. There's no first party title there. And he's right when it comes to Xbox. Xbox, they hung their hat on Halo. Halo got delayed till next year. Right. But all I said, from the start of this generation, we have seen the smallest amount of first party ever across the board. And that's true. It's absolutely.
I don't know. I think we've seen. I mean, Sony started slow for sure, but I think they really delivered. A few years in.
I just want to point out that for the PS4 launch, the only AAA, and if you want to consider some of these AAA games we had was Killzone Shadowfall, and now. And if you want to
explains why I got an Xbox One.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like the Titanfall, Dead Rising 3, Forza 5, Killer Instinct. Get real. How they going to compete with that? They didn't compete with that. That's why I got an Xbox.
Here, I'm just saying, in general, for a new generation launch, when you go in day one and pick up these consoles, we have the smallest amount of first party across the board comparing to any generation.
Yeah, I don't think anybody. You're right, X, but I don't think nobody disagrees with that. I think he was thinking more launch window than launch date, like you said.
Well, I mean, regardless,
it's like they don't have anything. Microsoft has nothing announced for next year. Literally, outside of Halo possibly coming out next year, they have nothing announced. Like, you just kind of scratch your head at that and go, "Well, how is that they announced all this stuff, supposedly Avowed and all that, but there's not even a year on any of that stuff, and it's a lot of it looks like it's quite a few years away."
Well, hold on. So, other than Ragnarok, which they said 2021, which I'm not sure I believe.
Didn't everything else they say
right.
launch window? Do you actually have dates for these things?
No, but they said launch window. I guess it means within the first 8 months of the launch.
And you expect all of those to hit, nothing to be delayed?
I expect most of them to. I would expect most of them to. Yeah.
But the thing is,
I mean,
though,
look,
Code, you're making.
They're already putting up the pre-orders for Gran Turismo, for
Right.
Ratchet and Clank. I think Ratchet and Clank's going to come out
you
fairly
make a
early.
great you make a great point if this was a court of law, but I got to be honest with you. You know, realistically, you said, well, Ragnarok said 2021. If I believe that, here's the thing: I can only speak for us on this show. If a developer or a platform says it, I mean, that's what we have to go by, you know, because
I'm hearing a lot of
right?
speculation.
I mean,
I'm surprised that they put the year in there.
I was surprised too.
The fact that they did leads me to believe that they are very confident, because Sony's been very careful about that. So the fact that they put that in there, they wanted people to know, hey, this thing's coming next year, and anything can happen.
Days Gone. If you go back, Crap, remember when Days Gone was shown for the first time at E3? It was like, it didn't even say coming soon. It was like coming eventually. You know what I mean? It was
with Ghost of Tsushima, when they showed that, it was just like we thought that was maybe a PS5 game years ago.
Right.
I mean,
my only point was that, I mean, Crap, it is true that Microsoft hasn't announced anything, but those announcements could still be forthcoming. But given that, let's say they haven't announced anything, which is true, we don't have to say it. It's true that they haven't announced anything, but you're speaking with a lot of certainty on the PlayStation side, and I just think that's dangerous.
Well,
especially
here's the thing, but Code.
Here's what
Code.
I would say,
The reason he's talking like that is, listen, you only talk like that when you're at a poker table when you got 4 aces in your hand, right? But Crap's got 3 aces and a 7. He's doing all right. You know what I mean?
What I would say is, look, Sony's earned a little bit of that trust there. Would you not agree with that? Right? Like
well, I don't agree with that. I agree that Sony, when it comes time to deliver, what they deliver will be excellent. But they are subject to delays.
For sure,
like everybody else.
For sure. But I would say that every generation they delivered on great games. Every generation that they've not delivered. Whereas Microsoft have completely
now, Crap. I'm saying you are mighty
what I'm saying
about this launch window.
I trust that they'll come out with those. I mean, I would rather have stuff that they're aiming for the launch window than on the Microsoft side, where it looks like they're not aiming for anything.
Especially if we actually hit it, I can give you a bunch of stuff that's coming that we aiming for. That's all.
Microsoft isn't going to do that, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think for me personally, I would love for them to go out there and go, well, this is what we're going to do. But listen, we know that that's not going to be the case, because we know they showed their cards. If they weren't so desperate to show content, they wouldn't have showed what the hell is State of Decay 3 that's in pre-production, for crying out loud, right? Yeah. Like, they wouldn't, if they had content that was ready to go, they would have let everybody know before, you know what I'm saying, at that event, because now it's like we're going into next year and everybody just skirting the fact. Why do you think they're pushing backwards compatibility? Why do you think they're pushing quick resume? They're trying to do the sleight of hand. Yeah, it's like play Gears 5. Look, Gears 5 was their last AAA. It came out September 6, 2019. That's over a year ago. But if Halo comes out in November of 2021, that's 2 years plus between AAA titles, and they want everybody to just kind of forget that. I think Xbox will be in a great fucking place in 3 years' time. But at the end of the day, for the first year, you're going in there with basically nothing, and that's coming off a year where if you were an Xbox owner, you're nothing. And yeah, I'm salty because I spent money on an Xbox One X that, I got to be completely honest with you, it was more fan service than anything. They realistically ended this thing, 22 months into its life, 26 months into its life cycle, and put out 3 new AAA titles for it. That's it. You got a Gears and 2 Forza. That's it. Right? Do I trust them to put out games? Hell no. I don't care how many studios they have. I don't trust them until those games are out and I can actually play them. I do not trust him. You're talking about Phil Spencer, who's canceled games, closed studios. I do not trust him. I don't trust Matt. I don't trust Jim Ryan. I don't trust any executive. But most of all, I got to say, I don't trust Microsoft. So until there's games that are actually coming out, scoring well and doing well, I got to say, I'm going to wait and see how it pans out. And I trust.
Crap, remember, Code, here real quick. So just to confirm what Crap's saying too, Xbox News, and it was confirmed, In Exile is working on a wonderful second RPG. So everybody got all excited about it. This is In Exile's words. In other words, this game doesn't even have the theme. They're literally in. Ready? This is the quote from Xbox News, I believe. It says, In Exile's working on a wonderful second RPG. It is in the infancy of pre-production. Do you know what that means? Sure. That would mean in the equivalent of our existence code, it's before our parents even went on their first date. Okay?
It's in the design phase, right? Man.
That's what I'm saying. So my point being to you is like a lot of these things that are exciting about...
People put that in a list for Xbox.
So they're like, In Exile's got 2 games coming out. It's like, well, one of them is like... The devs don't even know what it's about.
Yeah, let me respond to this. This is just too much tomfoolery going on around here.
All right, go ahead, Code.
So, crap, your specific statement, you don't trust Xbox. Let's look at that. So, I mean, on one hand, there is some validity to that, but the problem is it's like a football team, right? Like I love the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the Pittsburgh Steelers from year to year are not the same team. It's not the same group of guys that it always was. So your distrust for Xbox, that was from a different group of people. And if you look at if you look at this, and if you look at it analytically, you say, what were the mistakes that Microsoft made in 2013 going forward? The first mistake they made was they lost the power narrative. At the beginning of the generation, PS4, power, little Xbox One, 720p, 900p, whatever it was. So what's the first thing they did? They said, okay, we cannot lose the power narrative. So they developed a console to fix that mistake. What's the other thing they did? They had all of these devices and they were $100 more expensive. So what have they done? Okay, we can't be beat on price again. So we have on paper, because I don't believe all this hardware spec bullshit, but on paper, we have a more powerful console. We'll see if that's actually true. But on paper, we have a more powerful console at the same price. So they're trying to fix the pricing mistake. Then we got this little budget model. They're trying to fix the pricing mistake. So then what's left? Games. We have a poor reputation with content, which is true. We need to earn our fans back. Like EJ said, it's the husband. He done messed up. He's trying to get back in. So what do? They invest in content. So it's not the same Microsoft. They are doing things. Go ahead, bro.
You forgot the whole DRM fiasco.
Yeah, they got rid of that trash too.
Yeah.
So, but
they're bringing it.
No, they didn't. It's called Game Pass.
My point is not the same Microsoft. So when you say you don't trust Microsoft, I hear that, but they are making moves. They are looked at how they messed up, and they are making moves. And of course, you can't teleport games into existence. They don't grow on trees. You can't pick 4 or 5 features and ship it. So yes, it's going to take time. I know you don't want to wait, but that's the reality of development, which is why I'm saying you got a lot of confidence that it ain't going to be no waiting nowhere else. Waiting is just part of the game.
I get it. Listen, though. Sony has never gone a full year without a AAA exclusive. Phil Spencer has now been in charge of Xbox for 7 years. He was before the head of Xbox.
Inherit that. That ain't fair. That's like inheriting a team with a bunch of bad contracts. First, you got to get rid of the bad contracts, then build your team.
How long are you going to give a coach if they're paying?
Coach gets 3 years, Code.
Coach gets 3 to 4 years.
I've seen Philadelphia where you got to trust the process.
The Giants got rid of McAdoo in 2 years.
Yes, they did.
Phil Spencer was the head of Xbox Game Studios prior to being the head of Xbox.
Exactly.
So he was in there. He even says he was in the board meetings. He didn't say, "Hey, we shouldn't do we shouldn't do any of this stuff." In fact, a lot of those original,
so crap. You're all right. So I hear you, crap, but never. Go ahead. I'll hold my feet.
Those original ideas that they have are coming back now. They're the ideas of like the DR. It's just now in a different package.
Yeah, it is.
Where they can offer
you. And also, people are in an uproar about DRM, and now everyone's standing in line for Game Pass.
And games do take time, but when if you're $1 trillion company and you're putting the effort and money and time into making more, listen, Code, they have now announced 5 new consoles since 2016. 5.
Sure, good point. Not gonna argue that.
And yet in that time they can't come out with a decent launch game for any of the 5.
Good point. Not arguing that. That is true. Again, I give you that. We're gonna speak truth. We're going to have honest conversations about all platforms. Yes, there are mistakes.
And I also have to say, as somebody who was an Xbox fan, it feels like it feels like they are stretched and maybe care more about the streaming stuff and the PC stuff. Like the PC, they released more PC games than they did Xbox console games this year, right?
Sure,
like
that's
to
true,
me,
but
I'm scratching my head over here, like, okay, what
from that?
like it just for me personally, I like that. I'm kind of scratching my head about this. They also do some weird things like that nobody talks about. Okay, there was these rumors that they were going to get rid of Xbox Live, and they say nope. Microsoft says nope, we're not doing that. But on the actual dashboard that nobody's talking about, this consumer-friendly company is still the only company charging people to play free-to-play games online. They effectively doubled the price of Xbox Live Gold. You can't get a year for $60 anymore off the Xbox dashboard. Your only options are you go up from $60 a year to $100 a year, or to $120 a year, or $180 a year with Ultimate. So, like, and nobody's really talking about, hey, you know, everybody wants to talk about how consumer friendly we are, but well, I don't see anybody really talking about that.
That's
Yeah, I
double
see
the
that on my
price of PS Plus and PS Now combined.
They go 23 studios, and I'm like, you do not understand the frustrations of being an Xbox fan for the last 4.5 years and saying, wait till E3, wait till XO, wait till Gamescom. Like, it's gotten redundant at this point. Sure.
Hold on, crap. So
said
again,
3 years from now, I believe they'll be set 3 years from now.
right?
I just don't think.
But
Right
you
now
know,
they
things
are.
take time. So here is my frustration with you in particular, crap. So, like Wooly said earlier, we were making a point about Spider-Man. Wooly says, okay, regardless of what the fan outcry is, you have to understand business and so on, all these things. And you co-signed what he was saying. And my point to that is, there is a point where you understand that as a fan, you may be frustrated, but the business still needs to operate as a business. And if you be consistent and apply that same thing here, what you just said, okay, in about 3 years, they will be straight. And you realize that you right now. But what's going to happen in between those 3 years, crap? Like, what do you expect them to do from now until then? They realize they need time to make stuff, so they're going out and they're trying to buy content.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at what they launched the Xbox One with, you know, it wasn't like when you look at first party, it was like Dead Rising 3. That was a deal that they got through Capcom. Rise,
like
something
Rise,
they got through. Yeah, they got that through Crytek. Titanfall, huge deal. Probably one of my favorite games this generation. The first Titanfall, that was exclusive. They did you got to be able to go out and they got Ted Price, who has always done mostly pretty much Sony stuff. They brought that man out
right now, crap. They are trying those. The world is a different place, and I think they're not doing nothing, crap. It's just going to take some time for things to come to fruition.
But listen, here's the thing, Code. Throughout this generation, we've seen Remedy Entertainment go, we would have loved to make a Quantum Break 2. We would have loved to make an Alan Wake 2, right? Sure. And then like I felt like
Insomniac said it was Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, Control could have been a Remedy
Sunset
2, but
Overdrive
Microsoft
2.
fixed on it. Sunset Overdrive 2. Ted Price, before they were even bought, like years ago, says, "Yeah, well, we just need approval from Xbox, right?" And then, of course, Phil Spencer gave back the rights to Alan Wake because they had the publishing right. But there are games there that they left on the table that they could have had in the interim. You know what I mean?
But now,
they're definitely
crap. So all right. So let's not talk. Me and you, we having a deal for the next 10 minutes. Let's not talk about how they messed up in the past, but let's discuss what we can do going forward. If you were head of Xbox right now, given that it's going to take 3 years for all these things to come out the oven, what is the best that you can give your fans?
I would see maybe what unannounced game from one of these companies, no matter how much it costs.
Parties.
Yeah,
Can I remind Crap?
Yeah.
Can I just remind Crap and Code real quick? An interesting point here, okay, is what did Microsoft do recently? They bought ZeniMax, right? They bought Bethesda, Software Works. And hear me out. The two games that are coming out of new IP, Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, are a year exclusive to PlayStation 5. So even the studio that they just bought that has new IP is exclusive, right? So don't get me wrong, Fallout 5, Elder Scrolls, I get all that. That's going to be great exclusives for Xbox and much needed. But those are so far away from being done. And the two games that are coming out from Arcane and groups that really can put out some amazing IP, comically, it's like comic relief, are going to be PlayStation 5 exclusives. Right?
I can just say Microsoft Xbox is
they're going to make money, but
to secure content. It's just It takes time, and you will hear some announcements.
You know what, Optimus? You know what, bro?
Go ahead, Wooly.
We got to be real for a sec. Crap Gamer did say, his own words were, Xbox are going to be in a freaking amazing position in 3 years' time. He's not denying that. You know, we all heard it. So Crap Gamer isn't saying Xbox are going to do shit all Jan.
He said he don't trust.
Not me. No, but what basis do we have to trust them? You know, they gave us Halo. They gave us Halo Infinite, right? Just because they're trying to admit and improve and expand doesn't mean that they're going to give us quality, right? And so there is no basis for confidence in quality right now. That's why.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
Well, Wooly,
that term is too vague for me.
Well, you know, but let me, Code, you like sports analogies. What Wooly's trying to say is Bill Belichick is an absolutely, whether you like him or not, he's got a lot of rings and he's got a lot of, he's got a hell of a resume. But you take the Bill Belichick right now and literally lift him from.
Should deflate some footballs.
Well, absolutely, that is what I'm saying. But if you take Bill Belichick and pluck him right now and put him right into the Giants organization, he's got to prove himself still. And that's what Wooly's saying. He's saying no doubt that Bethesda and these guys have unbelievable developers, but you also can't sit here right now and say, well, things are just going to be absolutely fantastic 4 years from now. Those games might flop. They may do also very well. So what I'm hearing from you, Code, is you're like, now wait a minute, you can't be critical. These are going to be amazing in 3 years. Those games that you're saying may be great, they might not be.
That's not what I'm saying.
New faces don't have. They have a lot to prove. If you talked about how they're bringing in new faces, they need to prove.
Okay. No, hold on, stop it.
Mooch, real quick, guys. Like it's super late for me, guys. I gotta.
Yeah, sorry, I kept you guys.
Mooch, I enjoy it because I really got into it at the end here. But I got nothing but respect for Code and everybody. I really like this, but once it hits like 9, man, I gotta.
Well, Xbot also had to leave, so I understand.
But I just wanted to say, man, I appreciate everybody here, and it was a good time, man. And we'll be back Sunday.
On your channel,
man.
Yes.
Nothing but respect, man. Nothing but respect. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
all right, man. Good stuff, guys. Appreciate it, guys.
Code, I'll let you finish your thought, though.
No, I don't want to do it without Crap here. So, Will, you invite me back. We can finish
Code, listen, Code, you got the golden ticket. Go ahead, Nova. You can always come back, Code.
Answer on Craft's behalf. I want to answer Code's question. So you asked him, what would you do right now if you're running Microsoft? You know what I'd do?
What?
I would secure a third-party game that was already going to come out for both consoles. I'd open up that Microsoft bag.
They trying. Well, I mean,
1 year exclusive for
assume
Xbox.
they're trying that. Yes.
Yeah, and they might be. Just like Sony is how did Microsoft not secure Final Fantasy 16? How did they not secure, and of course, I know that behind closed doors, I'm sure Sony has very strong relationships with Square Enix, but I'm saying get an established franchise, whether it be Assassin's Creed, something, and just say, hey, you know what, we're going to put our balls on the table, 1 year exclusive, and this is the reason why you should,
that's a great point, Nova.
I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying.
Can I say one thing, too?
Go ahead, E.
Can I say one thing? And I just want to see what you guys think about this, because I do think, like Code you spoke on, they said that they're definitely working to shore up their content thing. And we all know that Game Pass is the play. Game Pass is the platform. They want to have constant content falling into Game Pass,
That's right?
I still honestly feel like, it's not always necessarily a content thing for them, because they are shoring that up. They're going into the generation with more studios than they've ever had. They've been on the buying spree. They're the rich kid with the credit card, right? But to me, they still have a new IP problem.
Agree.
Because the Bethesda play is a great play, but let's be real for a minute. Bethesda is still, they're big, but they got a lot of stuff that they still need to fix. They're coming off of Fallout 76.
Yes.
They're coming off of that terrible engine that they're trying to fix. I see people keep throwing Starfield out there. We still don't even know what Starfield is yet.
Right. Yep.
That was my point.
That was my point.
Any major details about that game.
That was my point. Yeah.
Now you get on the flip side of that. Yeah, it's going to be a big deal when you have like Doom and Game Pass, and you have if there's a new Dishonored and all that stuff. And I'm a tremendous fan of Bethesda Softworks. I think Bethesda Softworks teams are much more talented than Bethesda proper. That's just my opinion, right? Yeah. But let's not pretend that those games lit the world on fire. So what makes people think automatically those games are going to light the world on Crossfire when they had Game Pass.
That was my point, E. And E, I'm going to give you the mic right back. But Code, that's what I meant. And it wasn't necessarily. It's not the conversation that wasn't pointing at you. I'm saying that you and others. You said it in this show, but others have said you just wait 3 years. You just wait. What E just said, and actually shout out to Jeff Grubb, who was on the show a few weeks ago. Jeff has a tweet out that says, "Let's be honest here. A lot of the teams that are under Bethesda Software Works were going to go under or get major layoffs." So even though 7.5 billion isn't exactly what I would call getting them on the cheap, it's not. This was a deal that Bethesda needed just as much as Microsoft. So, that's the case. When we sit here and we say, and don't get me wrong, Starfield might be knockout, 5 stars out of 5, amazing, 10 out of 10, that's fine. But like I said, and this is what Nova was saying and Wooly too, these are things where you have to say, and shout out to Showan real quick. Showan says, Mooch, I got $7.5 billion worth of confidence. Here's the problem, what I was saying to Showan in the chat, and I'll say to you guys. The games do the talking. Unfortunately, it's not the wallet, right? Sony drops $10 billion on a game and it sucks. I bet you Mag cost a fortune. It sucked, okay? So my point being is that, it's not about... Microsoft spent $7.5 billion, so therefore they're out of this. You can't say they're not good. You can't say that they're unproven. They got everything. That doesn't make any sense. We've got to see what's coming.
But that's not the conversation, Mooch. The conversation is that they spent $7.5 billion, and so they are like instant success. The conversation is they have demonstrated their commitment to producing high quality, and they're not done. So, and again, that term
I don't know about that,
subjective.
Optimus. I don't think they've shown that at all. I think they've shown they're absolutely indicative on making Game Pass bigger to appeal to a mass market.
But the way to make Game Pass bigger is to put quality content in.
No,
that's not necessarily. It's to put a lot of content in there, right?
Exclusive.
That's correct.
It's not quality exclusive.
Hey, Optimus.
No.
Optimus. What was the last?
If that's the case, they could have bought like 5 independents. If they just want Steam is full. If that's the case, they could buy every indie developer on Steam for $1 million and fill that motherfucker up. That is not true. Stop this.
But hold on, wait. No, listen, we can make great analogies and conversation, but do me a favor, Code. Tell me what is the equivalent to The Godfather in Netflix? Good luck. The
equivalent to The Godfather.
Right. Right?
The Godfather is the equivalent to The Godfather.
My point. Listen, my point. I don't mean in that exact genre. I mean, right? I mean all-time classic.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm trying to say? So don't get me wrong. You make a good point too, Code. We can both do analogies all day. But I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, let's look at what Microsoft's true end game is. Microsoft's true end game is Game Pass. Okay, they want that thing on TVs, phones, toasters, refrigerators, fill in the blank. So, first and foremost, yes, they definitely want to put a decent product in there. I completely agree. But more than that, they've got to put games in there. They've got to have games that they own, that they can keep pumping in. And let me tell you something, Code. If you have to keep putting games in there quarter after quarter, 23 teams, right? We have 23 studios. Even if you times them by 2, let's round it up to 24. You have 48 games coming out. That's a fast production to keep putting them out every month, every 12 months in the year, right? That's a lot. So my point is people don't want to wait that long. So Xbox they don't have the 3, 4, 5 year cycle.
Okay, so look, stop this. All right, so again, listen to what y'all saying. This is self-contradictory. On the one hand, you got crap saying in 3 years they'll be amazing and everybody co-signing. But then on the other hand, you're saying, well, nobody's going to wait 3 years, so they got to fill it up fast, so on and so forth. Like, pick one.
I'll get an Xbox in 3 years. I'll gladly get an Xbox in 3 years.
So then if that's the case, that clearly demonstrates that they're not just trying to fill up Game Pass with a bunch of trash.
Matt Booty himself.
I don't think it's
what Matt Booty
trash.
said? Matt Booty said they want to make lots of scope down games. They want to make...
Again, that is true, but he didn't say they want to only make that, which is what you try to say. Wooly, you try to say Game
I never
Pass
tried to say only that. Halo Infinite is a complete contradictory to that.
So they clearly are interested in AAA content, which is why they spent $7.5 billion.
No, I'm saying they are interested in AAAs, but not many. They're not going to splash out.
Why? Where are you getting that from?
Because it's not monetarily feasible. Even Sony said that it's not monetarily feasible to splash out big bucks.
This is
when
true,
you've
Code.
not got.
These
I'm
words
just talking
were
facts here,
spoken.
bro.
These
Those
words
are
were
not
spoken.
facts.
Well, I'm not saying they're facts. I'm saying these words were spoken, though.
Microsoft did not say that it is a poor investment in AAA titles.
They said that's why he said this is why we've bought these studios, because we want, like Hellblade 1 was, good, very, very high quality, smaller games. That's his words, not mine.
Again, so you're extrapolating too far. And again, those are not mutually exclusive. So on the panel earlier, EJ said, I hate it when the game is too long. Because a game is short doesn't mean it's not AAA. And again, to be very clear, their investment demonstrates that they're serious about content. And I disagree. I mean, I reject this whole notion that they only want to fill up Game Pass, because there are much cheaper ways to only fill up Game Pass.
That is true, Code. That is true. I'll give you that. There are cheaper ways and means to do that. By the way, let me introduce the great Gaming Forte, who comes right from work into Crossfire, even though we're 20 minutes into the penalty minutes here. Go ahead, Forte.
What the hell is going on? Dog, Xbox must not be here. Xbox must have left early.
Xbox had to leave at 9 and Crap left at 9. Listen, it even decides.
Letting the inmates run the asylum right now?
Listen, it even decides, right? Crap had to go and Xbox had to go. The teeter-totter is back to even.
Man, my man E-Jack was in here making sense like a mug, and then everybody else just started going at each other's throats. What's happening?
Well, I think, listen, first of all, there's no, look, here's my thing. I don't think anybody's necessarily 100% wrong. I don't. I really don't. I think that time will tell. I think Forte, where it originally started, and then opinions kind of just stacked on top of different opinions, right? Yeah. Was just that, like, the initial thought was everybody's saying, just wait 3 years and Xbox will be great. But here's the thing, Forte.
That was crap.
That was crap. That was crap
for a while.
That was crap. But here's my point. Well, listen, that's why MNC's MNC. I don't always agree with crap. He knows that, right?
Let me throw this one thing in there. I mean, we keep throwing the AAA thing, but there are plenty of AA games that are quality.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You can still hit that clip.
That's right.
Hellblade's one of my favorites.
The thing Phil kind of put out there was they wanted to have quality content,
right,
at a clip. Right. He never stated we demanded every month we want to have a AAA. At least I don't remember him saying that. Maybe he did. I don't know. I think what he's just getting at is having quality content in there, and like Cole was saying earlier, quality. I think that's kind of
it's in the eye of the beholder too, right?
In the eye of the beholder, right? So you can have a AAA that costs big dollars. You can have a really good AA in there, and that's where you
I
have
agree.
Different.
They want quality.
You have these different companies doing different things. These different devs, I should say.
So if I was to just touch base on just one subject right here about.
GameStop is bad for the industry. Get rid of that trade-in program. Taking devs money.
Hey, guess what? If that trade-in program was better, GameStop would not be in the problems they were in. or those pre-owned prices, not $5 less.
Giving a 10-year-old $4 for.
Go ahead, Forte. Get your point.
Hey, I mean, don't be bringing me NBA 2K16 and up. Let's be for real. That's what most of those games are. But let's just talk about the problem. I think this is the thing. I think the biggest problem was with Xbox and the reason they see themselves in a problem when it comes to a lot of gamers with the content is a lot of people feel like they focused on the wrong things first. Unfortunately, they focused on the things that they had complete control over first, which was, the old saying where Phil Spencer said, like, I forget, like 2015 E3, where he says he made a promise to the Xbox community, saying we're gonna fix the services, we're gonna fix the console, we're gonna fix the ecosystem, and the last thing he said is we're gonna fix the games. And that's literally the order he went in. He literally fixed everything in that order.
That is true.
And now we're at the point where the games got to get fixed, and that's the thing that people don't like. People thought the game should have took precedence over everything, but the things that they're missing is
I agree with that.
Microsoft didn't have the game. Okay, so the games themselves was getting games started getting delayed. That was part of the problem.
Scalebound was canceled.
And then their own first party studios. You had, you already had Gears in the hopper. You already had Halo, at that point still in the hopper, and it's still there. But then you still had like Crackdown going through all of its trials and tribulations. So their first party was not in a good shape. So you got to think about it. All of these acquisitions happened right around that same time. That's when they started saying we need to start shopping for other content to bring into this ecosystem. That's why you see 2017 they bring 5 or 6 brand new studios on board. That's why you hear in 2018 that Bethesda you hear those. That's why you hear in 2018
there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes in that cheese. But go ahead.
No. It could definitely be holes in the cheese. No, I'm just saying. But that's why you hear in 2018 rumors of Bethesda and Microsoft in talks, then 2 years later it becomes a reality.
Yeah, but Forte, we just heard that EA was a close contender as well. Go ahead.
No, they were. Well, everybody's a close contender, but who ended up with the prize in the end? That's all that matters. Well, but listen, the biggest thing is they focused on the wrong things in most people's eyes first. That's the problem. But in their eyes, they didn't have suitable content to go in another direction. The stuff.
Yeah, man. People think developing these games is easy. I don't think y'all understand how hard this is.
It's not easy. That's the thing.
Cyberpunk, think about it. Cyberpunk got announced in 2012, 2013? And we're still talking about that game, not seen anything in its 2020?
That's right.
You know what, Forte? Maybe I'm wrong in this, and I know why people say the game part should have probably come first. Because I honestly feel, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I felt like they got too bogged down in answering that power narrative and getting involved in that. And
absolutely.
And if they would have started, with their studio acquisitions, they may have been in a better position going into the Series X launch.
That's the preach.
I don't think those things happen sequentially. I think those both were happening at the same time.
At the same time, and
harder to get the deals.
There's five. They have 5 cons. They got 5 consoles out before they got a new IP out.
Well, the problem was that's like I said, the focus. They focus on the things that they knew they could control instantly right there. They know they can ramp up R&D and get another system out to make their platform a more better system. They focused on the things that they could control. Like that's what they always tell you. Like everybody on this panel has dealt with something in their life, and they say, "Don't worry about it, man. Just deal with the stuff that you can control, and then work on the stuff that's later on down the line." The problem is a lot of people got impatient and waiting, and trust me, that is a Microsoft problem. Microsoft didn't give you a reason to want to stay with the ecosystem all the way to 2020 when they were promising you stuff back in 2015. If you're upset about it, that's fine. That's why I always this is why I always tell people this. Don't get upset. Don't cap for a platform. Be about the games. If the games are good, go where the games are.
That's right.
Microsoft. If you leave because Microsoft pushed you out the door, that's fine.
That's
fine. But outside of that, don't be.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that.
But that's the thing that makes me laugh when it comes to like fanboys, like on both sides. It's like they keep nitpicking at each other about which company's doing what. And I'm like, all companies lie. All companies are trash. And ultimately, understand your relationship with them. If they're giving you what you want, rock with them. If they're not, call them out. But it's you're waiting on both sides. That's why I kind of find it funny at times when it's like I said this on Twitter one day. It's like if everybody's just like so impatient. I need to know now. I'm like, but if you've been rocking, let's take Xbox for an example. You've been waiting with them since 2013, or I should say more like 2015, to fix the issues that they've been having, and you've been hanging with Phil, and you've been rocking with him, and we've been waiting at E3, and we've been waiting. But you look at Sony, he's like, I need him to say it now.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing on the other side. Like, why do you all care about so much what the other one is doing if you don't like what the other one is doing?
Right. That's 100% true.
Well, if you care about the console and you're invested and you were a fan, then it is important. Like, it's important to me. I used to play Halo 1 and 2 with friends at the Scouts Hut. I used to take my Xbox around. They used to bring their Xboxes. We linked them up together. They were the best gaming days of my life.
That's right.
Yeah,
I agree.
Xbox means a huge amount to me as a gamer, but I'm not going to defend what I think is a bad idea. And I'm not going to defend the globalization of a brand to replace the console, because I don't think Xbox as a brand
Well, Xbox is a brand. They're a platform.
Yeah. I agree, but I think
platform at this
Xbox as a
point.
brand is diminishing the value and necessity of the console because every game on Xbox I can play on my PC. So
But
my
that's what they
Xbox
want
One
you to
X
do.
is
That's what they want you to do.
yeah.
Though.
You so you're admitting it. They want me to play on my PC.
They want you in Game Pass. That's what they
Exactly.
want. They don't care
And
about the.
I
Listen,
want
why
to
do
be
you-
on the
Go ahead.
Xbox.
That's what I'm saying. It's
About
Game
Xbox
Pass.
anymore. Yeah.
It doesn't. Who cares about the system? Who cares?
I do.
Like,
A lot of people
listen,
do.
Yeah, but a lot of
I'm
people
saying,
do, Forte.
No,
That's the
a lot
thing.
of people care.
But-
No, but listen,
I'm
a lot
a
of people.
gamer.
What does the enjoyment of somebody else playing on a PC have to do with you playing on console? What does it have to do with anything? That's the thing that people can't answer for me. It's like if you want to play on PC, go play on PC. That still doesn't diminish the fact that all of these games are still playable on a console for the people that want to play on a console.
If you used to be in high school, right? You used to be in college, and you used to meet
You
together.
used to be there a long time ago.
But you used to meet, right? You used to meet with your friends, and you all be playing. I'm making this up. You're playing cards. You're playing basketball. All of a sudden, now you're like, guys, let's not do this anymore. Let's just meet on Zoom.
Right?
That shit ain't the same.
Yeah, but you're talking about
you being a float
able to meet in person. Are we taking the meet in person completely out of it?
But listen, I'm just telling you, people feel like when you're talking about the console space, it's what do we use the words all the time? The community.
Yeah, the community.
Well, like people feel like on Xbox, right? You said it yourself. You're like, the only reason I'm buying an Xbox Series X is because my friends are buying that box. Well,
exactly.
if they start making you feel like you don't need that box, and people start leaving that box.
They already made me feel like I don't need the box.
But Forte, this is not about me and you. I'm trying to explain that people.
But everybody has a different reason, though. That's the thing.
There's
We're trying to impose our reason on other people.
There's a large amount of people that feel like Xbox is abandoning the brand, even though Xbox is not truly abandoning the brand.
They're globalizing the brand. They're globalizing it, dude, and they're kind of globalizing the brand so that it transcends Xbox as a console. Now, you might be happy with that, dude, but you also got to think about this regarding PC games, Xbox games being on PC at the same time, right? Gears 5 and Days Gone. What did they both have at launch? Really bad bugs. Yeah, game-breaking bugs, right? Days Gone got fixed pronto, right? Why? Because devs only had one system to worry about, to maintain, to service, right? Gears 5 is still buggy as fuck, pardon my French. Gears 5 is still really, really a buggy mess. I play it on my Xbox One X, and I couldn't get past the door. It was locked shut. And
hey, can I chime in real quick on something that we discussed earlier? Mooch, I know we're getting late, and I blame Woolley for taking us over the time limit.
I couldn't believe y'all were still live when I got home.
I'm privileged.
But here's one thing that I think it's safe for me to say. A lot of third-party companies were building current gen titles and didn't really have any next gen plans.
Mm-hmm.
And if a company is looking to purchase or secure some third party exclusive content for their next gen console, it's not as easy as you think, because there's not a lot of people out there that were prepared for this jump. And so it's a lot of choices where they still end up waiting, because the most they can do is try to like enhance it and stuff. And so it's not as easy as you might think to snap your fingers and have a third party deal with next gen content.
It's not Optimus Code. It's not,
point.
and that's a very good point. I think that's true. I think that, and it's funny because Forte coming in late, we would have had some outstanding conversation. I know it's about 9:30. By the time we get done with outros, it's going to be almost 10 o'clock. Listen, it's been an awesome show, guys. Outstanding. This is classic Crossfire. This is what it's all about. And there's a couple people in the audience that are saying, "Oh, I don't agree with you, Mooch. I don't think it's that." First of all, it's not about agreeing. All I was trying to do at the end, and I think Code was doing it for his stance, and Forte did it for his. I'll read some of the super chats that are still here in a second. But like, there is a feeling. What Forte said is right, and that's what Xbox is saying. We've been saying it on Crossfire for a long time. Forte's been saying it for a while. Xbox doesn't care where you play their games. I get that. You get that. A lot of people get that. But there is a portion of people. Crap's not the only one. Woolly's not the only one. There's a lot of people that feel like, you know what? If Sony's going to stay a little bit more traditional at this point, that's where I want to be, because I know that my friends have a PlayStation. I can play with them on PlayStation. That's where I want to meet them every night. That's a meeting place. Like, that's why I use the playing cards or playing basketball. You know, all of a sudden you say, hey, let's just play, instead of getting together and talking like we used to in our group meeting, we'll do it on Zoom. It's not the same. Like when this whole pandemic started, a lot of people in the office were like, hey, we used to all hang out after work. Now we don't work together anymore because we're working from home. Let's do a Zoom. That worked out for like 6 weeks, and everyone was like, this sucks. But guess what? But what's the ultimate idea? We're all hanging out together, right? Same thing like Xbox, playing the game together, but it doesn't feel the same. And sometimes it happens. Like I play Call of Duty Modern Warfare on my PC, and I play with my friends that are on Xbox, and sometimes there's a disconnect there. Sometimes there's a little bit of a disconnect. Sometimes I gotta switch over to game chat and get out of game chat and go into party chat. And there's just weird nuances, and these are things we didn't realize when we were playing on the same console in the same cohesive unit. If you don't get that, that's fine. I'm not telling you to buy into it. I'm just trying to say to you, this is what some people think. I see Rockman go, what the fuck, Mooch, in the chat. Rockman, I'm not trying to say that's how you feel. I'm not saying that's how I feel. I'm saying that's how some consumers feel. So if you don't understand that some people feel that way, then it's the WTF to you. You know what I mean? That's the thing you have to understand, is you have to respect how that consumer feels. What Microsoft says is, we don't care where you play. That's fine. That's what Microsoft says. That's not necessarily who's playing their games and how they feel.
And there's
that's
some
the
consumers
point.
that say maybe you should feel like,
right.
You should care about where I want to play. Sometimes people feel like so I understand exactly what Willie's getting at, because I've seen people say, well, how the hell, you're focusing on these PC exclusives and you're kind of just like not really talking to the console player. So people put that out there too, But no, my thing is too, people try to prove who's right or wrong. I'm like, in consumerism, it's about who's spending their money. You can't sit and be mad at somebody for feeling a certain way unless you're buying their stuff for them.
Now,
you talk with a wallet.
Right.
Yeah.
So people should absolutely be able to be vocal and be like, look, I want more focus on the console side of it. And that's the funny thing too, is I notice people who, ride with whatever they ride with, they completely absorb whatever the mantra currently is of the company that they cap for.
Man, I hate that. Oh my God.
I can't stand that. I'm like,
oh my God.
When Sony came out, I was coming through PS2 to PS3, and Sony's like, you'll get a second job, and you'll pay. I was like, the hell I will.
Well, I will.
Deuces. And I went and I was already rocking with Xbox, and guess who was my main platform last generation until the beginning of this one, and they're like, we're gonna do all this. I'm like, the hell you, and I'll see you later. Because I don't, and Apple, when I'm like, when you gonna update this UI back around the iPhone 3 or something? We're not doing that. See you later. Going to Android.
This might be.
I understand my relationship with companies, and I don't care what Phil and Jim Ryan have to say, because I don't eat Thanksgiving dinner with either one of these guys.
That's right.
I think
we have a relationship. I give you money, you give me what I want. Stop capping for these companies.
It's facts.
I
think Microsoft is playing the long game. I don't think even they think that they're going to win the mind share starting off with this generation, how it's kind of been, a bit of a blunder. But going with what Code was saying earlier, like, I think this is kind of setting them up for either the end of this generation to kind of get some of that mind share back. Once all these games, they have time to, get all their, their current deals out the way, their current games that were already going to come out. It gives them time, maybe even longer, 4 or 5 years from now, to kind of set up, okay, now we have all the guns in our corner. We know that they're still looking to buy more studios. So maybe towards the end of this generation, we'll definitely see a different Microsoft, I believe. I mean, the 7.5 bills, of course, they're going to have to put a lot of these games out multiplayer. They got to recoup, right, for the investors. The day they bought that,
do that.
Yeah, the day they bought Zenny, or it was announced, they lost like two points on their stock, right? Because investors are like, damn, that's a lot of our money. But, we don't know, once they've earned a good amount of that money back, once they've put out these games, like I was saying earlier, starting next gen, we could be seeing what all the Xbox guys want them to do. They could be saying, okay, we have our studios now, these games on this platform, we'll make the Elder Scrolls multiplat, and we're going to make these games, exclusive. So it's still early on.
Look, so for me, it just seemed, you could be right, because this is the thing. Nobody truly knows what Microsoft's going to do. They're like a red herring when it comes to this situation. But the thing is, and it's just my way of thinking, you spend $7.5 billion. You're not trying to make $7.5 billion overnight. You're not even trying to make. You're not even trying to make it in 5 years. Right. This is a long-term play, and if you're doing a long-term play, why wouldn't you build like this is the take care of the things you know you can take care of. If you know that you have these games exclusive to a service that you wanted to be on or exclusive on PC or stuff like that, you're building your base. You're not building someone else's. You're having people have to come to you. You're playing the long game. You instantly know that if you do not put this on PlayStation, you know you're not going to get, you're not making your money back fast. And we all know you don't spend $7.5 billion to get it back fast. That's not going to happen. Yeah, so in my mind, it looks like, why would I give somebody else my money when I can get all of the money and literally build this in the same way?
Here's the thing though, Forte, if Microsoft was like, Microsoft owns Starfield now, right? So Starfield they go on PlayStation. Microsoft makes 70% of that cut. So
do you think what about happens if Sony doesn't want it over there?
That's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. But you're saying they don't want to do it. I don't necessarily buy into the whole there's going to be a game here or there I think they keep exclusive, but I think that when you I
think Starfield's going to be it because
Starfield might be it. That's right.
All their marketing they talk about Starfield all the time. Starfield,
I'll ride with you there, Forte, but like I'm just talking when I'm talking 2-3 years out, I don't know. But Fallout 5, I see that going on. That's going to be a multi-plat. So they want to make that money. And why wouldn't they make that 70% per disc, per digital download? Like, Sony only gets 30% of that digital download. The other 70% goes to Microsoft. They are not going to take that away.
There's a lot of people that I listen to on this. There's a lot of people I listen to about on this. And my initial thought was there's no way that they're not going to put these games other places. Then I had listened to people because there's a lot of compelling arguments on both sides.
There are. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right. That's just a thought.
If I had to play both sides of it, I would say games, the higher end selling games like Starfield. I think Starfield, since it's a new IP, I think that's going to be exclusive to Xbox because that's going to be there. I think the next Elder Scrolls and I think Fallout, I think that stuff will stay multi-plat. But the games like the things that don't sell well, like all over the place, like Doom, Wolfenstein, Prey, all those games, I think they'll probably keep on the Xbox brand because those games don't sell in the millions, like the hundreds and hundreds, like tens of millions, like a game like Elder Scroll and Skyrim would.
However, when Game Pass makes 40 million Game Pass subscribers or something close to that number, then the money that comes from sales will be insignificant, and I don't think they'll keep the games multi-plat anymore. I think once
they hit a critical mass, it's over.
Reach a critical mass of 40 million or something like that, the income from the Game Pass subscribers will definitely make it more favorable to put even the big games like Elder Scrolls as exclusives, and that's when it's time to own an Xbox, in my opinion, or should I say, upgrade my gaming PC.
Yeah, and the last thing before I know we're about to get out
of here. That's a while till we get to 40 million, but go ahead.
You guys were talking about the marketing, and the one thing I wanted to say about the marketing is about why Microsoft, you haven't really seen it. I think we're still seeing the effects of them canceling Halo. Because I think think about all the messaging was around Halo. Everything. They bet everything on Halo. Yeah, once Halo got canceled, all that marketing is out the window.
Back to grassroots.
It's all back to grass. So that's why I think you're not seeing. That's why they're doing this whole grassroots.
I agree with that.
Anything to talk about because all of it was based on Halo.
It was all based on Halo, so they had to scrap all that, and now they're back to handing out flyers. Listen, guys, we are back. It's 9.
I love you, man.
Putting them on cars and laundry, man.
Listen, I do what I can for it. Listen, guys, here we go. We had an outstanding. Listen, everyone in the chat, even agree or disagree, guys. Look at. Here's the idea. I've been saying this for a few weeks just to we've got some new people that are showing up. Crossfire is always about different ideas, different thoughts on the subjects various subjects that we all talk about week in and week out, these rumors, the hot news leaks. That's what makes the show so much fun for me personally. I know that's why the panel likes to come on, because they can speak their mind. You don't have to go into an echo chamber and just say the same thing. Whatever they say, they don't have to. Listen, half the panel didn't agree with me tonight. Guess what? That's okay. That's the point of the show. Like I said, otherwise I would have called it Kumbaya, and everybody would have got a free candle. But nonetheless, guys, outstanding show. I'm going to go in reverse order here. And the only reason I'm going to go in reverse order is the great Gaming Forte, who literally worked his ass off today and then comes into the show and actually steals the show. Forte, great to have you here, buddy. You know, it wouldn't be the same on Friday without you, buddy. Let people know where they can find you, and thanks for being here.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I couldn't believe y'all were still live, and I was like, "Oh." Then I heard the fireworks, and I was like, "Let me jump
Let
in
me
here.
get in there."
I got a Cold up here talking good. Everybody here talking good. Then all of a sudden it went off the rails. I was like, "Wait a minute, hold up, bro. This Crossfire, not argue at each other all the time." But yeah, man, it was cool, man. Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube and Twitter. Follow everybody on this channel, man, on the panel, man, because they all got good things to say in all the different medias. Code. Let me ask you something, bro.
What up?
You over there with your boy Hard 8, man. Keep doing what y'all doing. Keep that man in check. Keep that man in check. Dog, I listen to it every week, man. You guys, man, y'all compliment each other very, very well.
Man,
and I
that's
know it's hard for Hard 8
I
to
can't
find
tell
somebody
that
that
man
does
what
that
to
for
do.
him. So
I can't tell that man what to do. Just like Mooch said, ain't nobody gonna always agree, but we just each tell our own piece.
Look, man, you guys do an amazing job together over there. So keep doing what y'all doing. But outside of that, it's Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube and Twitter. Check us out on BRAP every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Me and Slumbo Backslap doing the DPS podcast, which will be on my channel this Tuesday at 9 p.m.
Yes.
Now y'all the ones that break it down. Y'all got good chemistry, bro.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate that, man. That's my brother, man. Literally, I don't know what I would do without that man when it comes to this whole.
Yeah, Luca, y'all mama, right?
So beautiful.
Yeah, Luca's. Well, I don't know if you ask Slomo that. If you ask Slomo that, you know he'll disagree with you over and over and over again. I kind of just accept it.
Yeah,
because
man.
you know it's just best for you just to accept things if it's like that. But no, man, this is a great show, man. Definitely can't wait till next week to be here for the full show.
Thanks,
awesome,
Forte.
Listen, guys, I did miss some super chats. I apologize. Let me go ahead. Thanks to Aerodemus for pointing that out. Real quick, Viper XT says Microsoft has teamed up with Cyberpunk for commercials during NBA and NFL games, as well as their Taco Bell commercials. So the Taco Bell commercials, Viper, I completely agree with you on, because that's their own studio doing that. That's their own company. That's their brand. Teaming up with Cyberpunk, that's a third-party deal. That happens throughout the year with both platforms. So, yes, but, you know, it's basically a big commercial for Cyberpunk, and then it just shows the Xbox logo at the end. Cool, but not exactly the same thought that we were in discussion earlier. Famous9681 says, this dude crap, and he starts laughing. Great stuff from Famous. Aerodemus says, crap needs relationship therapy because he's burned by his breakup, won't give up Xbox. Aerodemus, we've heard that one before. Viper XT comes back. He says, hey, crap, why do you need a year subscription for Xbox Live? I thought everyone only pays $1 a month for Game Pass Ultimate. Well, that's an old joke, but nonetheless. Show on, we already talked about his $7.5 million of confidence. Zombilla Ice Cream, he says, when it comes to game studios, quality over quantity. That can't be said enough, Zombilla. I cannot agree anymore. Axel says there is so much more to it. Bethesda has experience in mobile games, most profitable gaming sector, and VR, which is what Xbox wants next. Game Pass. But, you know, again, there's a couple of holes in that cheese too, Axel, but I like when you're going to buy something for $7.5 billion, you definitely want to get more than just IP and developers. That is technology, that is patents, etc. So if Bethesda Software Works / ZeniMax have that, that is definitely part of what brought them to the table. So I agree with you there.
I know you used to work in the kitchen because you always talk about food. You always got me hungry.
The whole listen, it wasn't me, believe it or not. My entire extended family has restaurants, so I'm always around food. That's a me problem. Jaguar 32X says 2015, their first party wasn't in good shape. Phil was running that shit for many years. DD Lee says Crossfire, woo, absolutely. DD Sin Vendetta says, geez. I won't say the whole thing. How is Forte always right? Listen, Forte is Forte, Sin Vendetta, but I will let you know that the Mooch is also not so bad. Okay, right? You like that, Code? Right. Code, you know Code, you know the old days. You couldn't go on Johnny Carson and not tell Johnny he was wrong, right?
If you want Mooch right, go watch MNC because he's mostly right on that show.
Thank you, Forte. I appreciate that. Why? There's only two of us. Or no, three of us with Nova. But Nova's been quiet lately. We got to get Nova louder. I got to get Nova's 2 cents because it's usually just being crap.
Speaking of which, Nova, you do need. I agree with. I do agree with Code, man. How you gonna have your name on the artwork smaller?
He put
than
it so small.
Yo, all right, y'all. Trust me, I'm on Photoshop right now.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? Now it's gonna say Nova and just Mooch and crap within the N and the V. All right. So anyway, so we got right. This is what you guys are doing. X Burke says Xbox needed to prove they could go first. Prove they could first successfully create Game Pass, xCloud, and build the most powerful console before shelling out billions. I think that would be the cart before the horse, but what do I know? That's not the business that I deal with day in and day out. I would want to know that I have software and people's attention, then have them buy the hardware, which costs them a bloody fortune. You like that? By the way, I also want to make a comment to WoolleyGamer. Woolly's over in the UK. You notice that they have fun words over in the UK that we don't get to use over here? Like they have I don't know what bullocks is, and I don't know what quid is all about. But you guys take, right?
Bullocks, mate.
Right? It's just, you guys have the best terminology, period.
They do.
Don't they?
They do. They have the best slang. I use it
Code.
all the time.
Yes, right.
Code. He said you guys wouldn't mind paying 20 quid more for, and he said quid. I was like, I'll pay 20 quid. What? Absolutely, just because it sounds cool to spend. Willie, right? Good stuff, man. I didn't forget you. Jay Summers says, Mooch, don't forget. I didn't. Shout out to Jay Summers. He says, Mooch, can I get a shout out for my 40th birthday? Love the show, man. Jay Summers, that 40th birthday is for you, buddy. Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday.
You're a Libra like the Mooch, so you're in good spirits and you're in good hands. All right, guys, let me get back to my outros because these guys are fantastic, and I kept them from their family and gaming. That being said, I got my buddy here, Optimus Code. Code comes on here, and let me tell you something. He preaches, and I love what he says. Code, I got to tell you, man, I love it even when you tell me I'm wrong. That's how much I love having you on the show.
It's not right or wrong, Mooch. It's just different viewpoints, man. We just get all the perspectives out there. That's all it is.
That's what I'm talking about, Code. Let them know where they can find you, buddy, because honestly, people need to hear.
Well, like Forte said, I'm on Any Given Sunday podcast. That's every Sunday night or Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock Eastern with my guy Hard 8. Hey, I really want to say, Wooly, man, I said it earlier, but I put it in a joke, man. You are very well spoken, man. You make a lot of sense when you got more than 240 characters, man. You all right.
Optimus, dude. For real, bro. I have so much respect for you, dude. You're an OG, and you're a beacon of wisdom. You're a beacon of wisdom, dude. And I really look.
I wouldn't go there. I'm a beacon of something, but I wouldn't go there.
Honestly, bro, I take your word as legit always. And you know, this has all been great. Sorry, it's not my outro yet, is it? But yeah.
No.
Well, you know what? Listen, let's go ahead and do that. WoolleyGamer, Wooly the Butcher. By the way, the Butcher Gamer. Get it right on Twitter, please, guys. He's the Butcher. Wooly, outstanding having you here. I'll let you get back to what you were saying with Code. But listen, outstanding first performance on CrossFire. You know what that means? You're coming back, buddy. I can't wait to have you back on the show. Let people know where they can find you.
I'm so grateful, man. It's been honestly just hands down. It's been one of my favorite experiences ever. I freaking loved this so much.
Awesome.
And yeah, you can find me Wooly_gaming, or my YouTube channel is WoolleyGamer. I've started uploading my 2-minute rants. I call them Wooly rants, and I share a bit of Wooly wisdom. They're my hashtags, and I know it's sad, but never mind. I upload them now to my YouTube channel, and that's what my YouTube's going to be. Probably they're going to be when they're timely. They're not going to be videos for the sake of making videos. The videos when there's a particular current outrage or narrative being spun, where a lot of perspective is being missed, and there's a lot of things that need a bit of perspective and more thought behind before people let this outrage culture that we're now in kind of drown out the bigger picture. And I like to think that I think deep about these things, so I try to give a twist on things and explain things in a way that makes people go, oh, I've never thought of it like that before. And I've had quite a lot of people say that when I've said things, they're like, wow, I've never thought of it like that before. That's a really great take. So yeah, that's what I do. I'm mostly on Twitter. I'm kind of getting into Photoshop at the moment, and I like making graphic art, but I'm a bit of a noob at it. And yeah, I'm just here for the fun, and here for the games, and here for the great time. And once again, Mooch, brother, I'm so freaking grateful to have been invited on the show. I'm a huge fan. Thank you so much. I've loved tonight, and all of you are awesome.
Wooly, thank you, buddy. And let me tell you. Go ahead,
I
Optimus.
think you're telling the truth, Mooch, because it's about 3:00 in the morning where he lives at.
It really is, man. You know that's dedication. But Willie, I'll tell you right now, I say this all the time to when guests come on the show. You know, in all honesty, you're the reason you're here, man. You're great. I got to be honest with you. People need to know who you are. They need to hear about you. Shout out to Saltiest Gaming and the Saltiest Gaming podcast. It's great. When I saw you became a regular on there, I said, you know what? That's just amazing. That's a great move by Salt because you do so much work on Twitter. I love that you're doing those instant, like, it's just you and the audience on the phone, giving those small perspectives on a day-to-day, basically all the rumors and hot topics that come out. People need to hear about you, man. So outstanding job.
I got to call out. I got to just for a minute, just shout out to Salty. Honestly,
Absolutely.
hands down, that guy is so legit. He's as humble as the freaking earth. And
Salty's a fraud. Stop this.
Nah, man. He ain't. He's legit. He's legit, and he's so down to earth and so humble. And yet he reached out to me and really I guess in a way took me under his wing and invited me on the show and kind of gave me a lot of encouragement. And you know, he's such an awesome guy. So I owe a lot to him. So yeah, shout out to Salty.
Awesome, absolutely. Shout out to Salt, and like I said, the Saltiest Gaming Podcast, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Let me give this. I got my man of wisdom here, and let me tell you something. I don't just say he's like the voice of reason for no reason, okay? Eric had to slap some people around tonight. And maybe one was even Mooch. I'm not sure, but I got to tell you, I think I was on Eric's train the entire damn night. E, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Let people know where they can find you.
Oh, man, you know, it's always a pleasure to come on, man. This was a great panel. The chat was fired up. Always a good time, man. And I like when we can get in sync and I can actually make the show because always like something comes up, you know. But all you have to do is reach out, man. I'm there. But Cole, man, good to podcast with you, man. We haven't done that in a while.
I know, EJ. Man, it was great. I'm gonna tell your pastor you was on there cussing though.
He cursed too, man. I'm gonna start calling you coach though, man, because you remind me like my football coach. He's like, good hit, Jackson, good hit. You still trash, but good hit.
You know, I like that, E. That honestly, yeah. Code, listen, the name works because of your past experiences. Yeah, but I gotta be honest with you, man. I like Coach. I like it. Coach.
I think that works, man. I think that should stick.
Well, Code. As long as Code's all right with it, that might be his name on CrossFire. Yeah. I like that, man. That's Code. Not bad. Coach Code. Man. Wow. Now listen, you know what the bad part about that is? Now Code's gonna get a whistle, and every time we say something wrong, we're gonna hear it. Yeah, right? Be careful what we ask for, E.
Right.
So we about to get it.
Like, get out of here with that trash.
So, E, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. I appreciate
man.
it.
Thanks for having me, man. You can find me on Brat Podcast with the great Forte, Slow-Mo Backslap, and I guess Enrique's great. B Money's great.
He owe me money.
A lot of trash. No, Enrique's great too, but no, we're there at 9
o'clock.
PCMR
in a tweet. I mean, in a super chat. He owed me some money.
He did it
like 4 or 5 times today.
Yeah, he did it.
By the way, Mooch,
I want my Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Hey, Mooch, bro. Just want to say before you give Nova the outro, I just want to give a shout out to Nova. Not just for having me on his podcast, but the quality of his podcast.
Oh, isn't it great?
Mentioning. Like, seriously, guys, all these subscribers to Mooch, you're doing yourself a big disservice if you guys watching this now don't subscribe to Nova, because his podcast is a fantastic podcast to watch, and it's so professionally well done. It's got great screenshots of media that he brings up, and it's just brilliant. So it's absolute fire. So you need to go check that out.
Well, that's great. You know what's great, Nova? He just did my job for me. Nova, I was going to say, outstanding job tonight. I was going to say, go ahead and plug the channel, buddy. We're going to have a show on Sunday morning, which is going to be great. You did fantastic tonight. Nova, take it away.
Yo, thank you. First and foremost, Wooly, I really appreciate that, brother. You've been a supporter since day one, and support anything you do as well. So thank you for those
thank you, my dude.
Those kind words. Just to address all the controversy, guys, I will be updating the MNC logo just so y'all can see my name. From popular
called
debate, we gotta do that.
Crap Nova with Mooch.
With Mooch.
Oh God.
With Mooch.
Yeah, see Forte. How do I lose on that one, Forte? What the hell happened there?
No, you're the star of the show, Mooch. You're like
with Mooch. I love it.
With Mooch.
With who's yelling?
Yeah, they're with you. You're not with them.
Who's yelling?
That's great, man. Go ahead,
Mooch,
Nova.
they're with you. You're not with them.
Just to throw my plugs in real quick, I'll get the MNC show out the way first. So everybody, please, if you probably already know, but if you don't know, 11:30 Sunday, we do it every Sunday. We alternate from Mooch and Crap's channel, the MNC show with Nova. Please check it out. We have a great time. Grab your coffee, donuts, and all that. My channel. So we do the Insomniac podcast every Thursday at 7 p.m. It's a great time. As Woolley know, he was actually the first guest on my show, and that was a great show. It's all about having fun. I do take a lot of pride in having the visual aspect there. So when you go on my podcast, you're going to expect to see videos running in 1080 60, screenshots. I mean, just the visual presentation is there along with the conversation. So please check that out. Oh, also, I just created an Instagram for our channel. So on Instagram, at Insomniac Podcast. Very easy. Besides that, Mooch, it was a pleasure. It was an honor. It was everything above that to be on the show tonight. I've been listening to this podcast for the past 2+ years, and I never thought I'd be on here wrapping up with you guys. Also, shout out to Code, man. Again, Coach Code.
Coach
Code. I've been calling you for a while. Everybody, Forte, Jackson, Optimus, Salty, Crap, Xbot, everybody. It's been an honor, truly. So I just wanted to
Congrats, Nova.
Nova, appreciate that, man. Totally awesome
Great
and
being on with you
outstanding job tonight.
I can feel the love.
I can feel the love. Listen, I'm going to do a couple quick outros real quick for everybody who had to leave. Shout out to Noximus. Nox had to leave. He had to take care of something with his family. But I will be talking to him after the show. He says, what's up to everybody? Do check him out. All his information is right there on screen. Xbot448, who did an outstanding job representing Team Green tonight. Xbot is, he also has to take care of family stuff after 9 o'clock. He had to duck out, but don't forget, next podcast, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on his channel. All his information is right there on the screen. And last but certainly not least, Crap Gamer. Crap had to leave early as well. He has family things going on after 9 o'clock. Boy, Friday, a lot of stuff's going on with the family. Check out Crap Gamer Reviews. He's got at least 2 videos a day. And of course, M&C Show will be on Crap Gamer's channel this Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That being said, guys, I know there's only a few hundred left after this long 3-hour session of Crossfire, but please do hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we will see you guys Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time next week. Until then, game on, enjoy your weekend. Peace out.
Peace.